Hey guys, we'll get started in just a minute or two. AR, why don't you try talking for a second?
Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing out there? Can you hear me well?
Okay,
Are you
that
seated comfortably?
that looks reasonably good. Of course, I'm sure everyone who's listening will chime in. May, why don't you try talking for a minute?
Hello, everyone. Hopefully, I sound okay too. Hopefully, my microphone's not being weird today. Hopefully.
That looks about good, but we'll give the listeners a chance to comment before we move on, just on the off chance anything's up.
From the way I'm hearing things, I think May could be a little higher, a little louder.
I will check my microphone settings. Just give me a moment.
I don't know if that's what you're hearing, but
You guys sound close. She's a bit lower, but it doesn't sound that unusual for what it normally is.
Yeah, it's
okay.
on 100%, so it's nothing.
Oh, okay.
I should be sounding
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe
looking.
Mark's just too loud.
Possible.
Probably. Okay. Well, no one's complaining about the audio, so I'm going to take that as being good. So we'll get the 30 seconds of silence starting now. Okay, that should be good. Did I just hear a mouse?
That was a bird that flew out, passed outside out the window.
Okay.
It's weird expecting complete silence in that 30 seconds when I have the dishwasher running in the kitchen.
We've got a fan on as well, so that's probably not.
I have a fan on, but according to everyone, including you guys, you can't hear it.
No, I can't hear it.
Okay, that's good. My last fan I had to turn off because it could definitely be heard.
I'm actually amazed you don't hear my air conditioning when it's running. Because it's right by my desk and it's
I
not quiet.
I believe Discord does processing before it sends to us. That's part of why I have to try to tweak my audio more than your guys, because I'm getting already processed stuff from you guys. So I think it's actually removing the noise on your end. Okay, that should be good. You guys ready to go?
Yep.
Okay. Welcome to the Will podcast. We're here to inform and have fun while talking about Digimon. I'm Mark. I run with the Will.
Mayor Palver, Digimon System Restore.
And I'm May from Lost in Translation Mon.
And we almost all weren't here. May's currently in the midst of dying. It's nice of her to make it.
Are you dying again?
Different way this time.
Yeah,
Either food poisoning or spider bite.
Last time it was bleeding to death through the nose.
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh yes, that was exciting.
Yeah, that kept on happening. So we went to the doctor about it, and because we were really worried because it never happened before, and it was happening like several times a day for like 3 days, and we were worried. And apparently, it was just like a side effect of my medication that I was just super dry, and that was kind of bad for my nose. So they gave me some oil to put in my nose, and that was unpleasant, but it helped, which was good.
So
May is the official Leomon of the podcast.
Yeah, basically, but I keep on coming back at least.
So minus May doing her best to live. How was everyone's holiday season?
It was pretty good. It was very good, very interesting. Over the holidays.
I got to touch a baby.
You got to touch a baby?
I've never done that before. I've never done that before, so
yeah, it took my brain a second to actually run through what you had said and the way you had presented it.
No, they're really cute because like they do like the graspy thing on your hand, and then they kick their legs a lot, and they really like to kick. And it smiled at me, and I puffed up my cheeks, and it laughed, and that was really nice. I didn't realize that they did that, but they did. I really liked the grasping, the tiny feet and the tiny hands and the grasping.
Yeah, they
'Cause,
do
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah, and
been near
you
a
did
baby.
it. You did it right. Rent before you own is good advice for babies.
Fuck,
Try it
I would
out.
have taken
You
that
know,
thing home if they
try it
let
out
me.
first. Take it for a spin before you commit to a long term.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you never realize how strong a baby is until it decides it wants to hold on to your finger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So they've gone a bit nuts with news lately, haven't they?
Yep.
Like a few weeks ago, we were like, "Oh, there's a nice stack of stuff, but nothing huge, and it will go shockingly quickly." And then 2 weeks ago, we all just kind of heard laughing in the night, and then they've kind of just went psychotic the last 2 weeks.
It's good in the sense that I was originally going to have a time window of like only 2 hours when I'd be available, but that cleared itself up. So now I'm free for as long as possible. The only problem with that is that my wife is now free to do all of the post holiday shopping with all the Christmas money we got. So that could be dangerous depending on how long we go. If we go more than 3 hours, we may be filing for bankruptcy. Just letting you know.
I don't think it will go quite that long, but there's a lot to go over. And I mean, originally the news wasn't going to be super long, so we had a topic ready to go, which we're stupidly still going to do. So maybe we should just head on over to the news and see how many hours it takes to get through this. Shall we?
Plow through this early stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got some Christmas artwork. The Bandai artwork is just amazing. I've seen no one complain about it at all, which is almost shocking for Digimon stuff at this point.
It has Marina and Jamon. You're good. We're good to go.
Yeah. My favorite part of the art, and most people are focusing on Doraemon. My favorite part is just Tokomon with the earmuffs standing up on the table.
They managed to take all of the cute Digimon and put them all in one picture. It's really a feat.
And yet not Cutemon.
Yeah, not cute Mon.
Yeah.
Mostly baby levels.
Yeah. Although
and Marina and Jamon and Draymon.
I really do love the Starmon at the top of the tree, just there.
Actually, I just noticed the Pikmons as ornaments. That's
Oh,
the first time.
yeah.
That's the first time I noticed those guys.
Yeah, and there's a few other Digimon as ornaments
it's
also.
appropriate because my son decided he wanted to watch Fusion yesterday, so I'm in kind of a Fusion kick right now.
But yeah, nice piece of art. And then from the Jump Fest exclusive postcard, Taichi Yamato, Agumon, and Gabumon as Santa.
Cute.
And Toei USA put up the same art for Christmas. Very nice.
Sorry, just back on the Christmas tree. Only because I'm just looking at it again, and I only just noticed that Mamemon's in the tree as an ornament, and that is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Also, look to the bottom right of the leaves on the tree.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize him either because I was like, oh yeah, it is just baby Digimon except for
that little grin.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to.
No. It's good art, and they put in quite a bit. Like you actually have to look at it to see everything. It's kind of a shocking amount of stuff. And then we have Digimon Chronicle X, which is... Well, first, with Chapter 25, we all saw that Digimon coming even before they revealed... Because they'd hinted at Ogudamon X a few times. I think as the hero Digimon, I don't think anyone really saw... So it's just going to be a Jesmon X evolution. I don't think anyone called... I think... most of the guesses I saw were either Imperial Dramon Paladin Mode X or some sort of All Royal Knight fusion. Thoughts? Both my co-hosts may have died.
Oh no, I'm alive. I'm just not.
Yeah.
Good with thoughts.
No thoughts on Jesmon GX?
It's Jesmon GX.
It's not new Omegamon.
Yep. They added a letter, is what they did.
Yeah, I'm just constantly ready for a new Omegamon form
Now,
at all times.
am I wrong, or is he less spiky than Jessamon X? I feel like he's less spiky.
But it's not an X, it's a GX, so
Hard,
rules are out the
hard,
window.
hard.
It's not about
GX
being
is around
spiky.
Yeah. And the best part was the last part of Digimon Chronicle X will be out in March, and people got upset.
Amazing because it feels like we got chapters constantly, and now they're taking a break.
Well,
I guess they're waiting until the next X to DMX.
They gotta pace themselves better.
So, serious question: do you think they intended to do 4 or 5 of these and then change their mind, because they ran through a bunch? For like,
my guess is they probably wanted to get to the point where they wanted to promote Ogado and Jessamon GX, and then they did that, and now they can kind of coast until.
But they're up to chapter 26 and chapter 27's the end. I believe the X1 and X2 went up to like chapter 11 or 12. We got more from the X3 than the other two combined, and arguably less happened in the chapters. I can almost hear AR's voice asking to get away from Chronicle X because he really doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's not that interesting to me.
No.
It's
now still related to that, but they've kept doing it as all the artworks and profiles, and they've towards the end they were running through a bunch of the new and special ones, and then they started doing Shiratori, which is Japanese word game. And
the Shiratori was kind of fun.
And for some reason they decided Dogatchmon deserves 3 images when I don't think anyone else has even gotten 2. Take
what you get.
Not that I'm complaining.
I think the real story here is that they're getting Atmon involved again.
Yeah. Well, they did Atmon in between the 2 and 3, I think. Because we got Gatchmon and the not Navimon. It was the GPS one, I think. Or
that's Navimon.
No, not GPS. The travel guide one.
Oh, Tripmon.
Yeah, because they did him, didn't they?
Yeah, actually, they did do Tripmon.
So
I like that it's more just integrated, that everything is kind of together for this game, linking everything together.
Yeah. And it's nice that they're doing larger art for basically everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Should we count Dogatchmon as a tiny Omegamon? Looking at that design, really?
Yeah, I would.
They really want us to think of him as a tiny Omegamon. But yeah,
Dogatchmon?
No. Yeah, no. Look at the chest design.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Globemon also, though, right?
Yeah. Well, Globemon, yes.
More.
Yeah. And on top of that, oddly, it feels super odd because we've had this guy for so long. We actually have Hexablaumon. We actually have artwork and a name and stuff for him now, rather than the very tiny thumbnail from. Because I guess he's not actually playable in the game. You just ran against a villain version of him, and we had a tiny thumbnail from that. Because he's Bulkomon's ultimate form.
Mm-hmm.
That's apparently why we only ever had such tiny stuff, was that he somehow got mixed in as a random villain character. So apparently they still can't get him in the game. You just randomly encounter evil versions of him. And was the actual profile we ended up getting for him almost like stereotypically Ice Wizard and exactly what we expected. I will note, though, for the 1 or 2 people who asked how come sometimes it seems like I talk over ARMA, it's because I don't realize they're going to talk. Because sometimes they don't.
Just waiting for you to get to survive, basically.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for I really like Noble Pumpkinmon, and I just want that to go on the record of me saying that.
Who doesn't like Noble Pumpkinmon?
And May, is
there anyone who really dislikes this?
May, did you turn up a fan or something? Anytime you talk now, there's a hissing.
Oh no, I've just been I mute my mic whenever I'm not talking, so that is just the fan. Whenever I've got like
Okay, oddly, it seems to be gone now.
That is weird because the fan has been on the whole time.
So the X3 and ARTBOOK pre-orders closed. They showed a bit of a preview of the. I believe they said this time they were going to do more, and it was going to be 6 pages of mini comics. And the odd thing with the art book is they're going to include Chronicle X, but it's going to be all from the perspective of Jessamon X, which is interesting but very weird. Like, do you think that's going to be a comic, or do you think that's going to be prose? Because it feels like that's going to be text, don't you think?
Yeah, I want a comic though.
Yeah, it will be a 3-page comic of Jessamon X showing up, and then he becomes GX, and then the end. And now we get to everyone's favorite section. What will May be spending her money on? So first up, I like the idea of the stationery stands, but these feel a bit too small to be like really. These are more desk toys than actual stationery stands, don't you think?
These are paperweights.
These are key holders. And I mean, Goemon's literally holding the keys.
Yeah, but the keys don't fit.
The keys don't. Yeah, that's too small for.
Yeah, like these are less really stationary. These are desk toys that happen to have holes in them.
Yeah.
The tree stump doesn't even look tall enough to hold a pen.
I mean, it's not. The pen doesn't. It doesn't even look like a normal pen.
I don't think that's a pen. That almost looks like a lipstick tube or something.
Yeah.
I thought like a mini torch or something. Like
oh no! You know what that is? That's one of those Japanese stamps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a signature stamp, I think. But yeah, the designs of these are really nice. They're going to be hand painted for some reason. And if they were full sized for $65 each, I could almost imagine getting one. I'm not. That's too much for these, at least for me. I think.
If there was a Palomar one, I'd get it. That Omegamon one's pretty good.
Yeah, they are. They're not big. The problem with something like this is
they're good. It's just the function for $65. You expect some sort of functionality,
or at least to be a big statue. If it were at least just a statue, it'd be fine. These claim usability when no, but the designs are really nice though. And it's kind of weird that you would think it'd be Agumon and Gabumon, but Gomamon works really well for this.
Yeah.
And is it just me, or does Gomamon really feel like they're trying to try Gomamon?
Well,
yeah.
I mean, there's no other scene where he has a ramen bowl on top of his head.
True.
I don't think that's
like
Agumon
is pretty.
It's not
Agumon
a ramen bowl.
Is pretty standard.
It's the equivalent of a bowl that will hold something.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was like an onsen bowl for some reason.
That's what it looks like to me, but it also has like a paper clip on it. I think it's just like a generic container.
I thought that was fuck, my brain's dead. Tongs. I thought those were tongs that you like would pick up a hot towel with.
Yeah.
It might be.
So that's what I
now
thought.
let's move on to the most fun thing. The Omegamon fountain pen that they're calling Fountain Pen Omegamon.
I linked this to my non-Digimon fan friends, and I think the response I got was either like, no, so have you bought this yet? Another one was, what neckbeard would buy this? And then somebody else said, the neckbeard is May. So I like this pen.
It takes a very strange intersection of interests to want both Omegamon and a fountain pen.
Okay, so it is a fountain pen. It has Omegamon, War Greymon, and Metal Gurumon art from Kenshi Watanabe. The Omegamon art, I believe, is from the watch, correct? Like that. That Omegamon. Yeah. They've embedded like a ring in the cap portion. They've carved an Omegamon symbol into the nib. They put a lot of effort into this, and the most shocking part was, May, did you notice on Reddit someone who was actually knowledgeable about pens actually commented on it?
No, I didn't see what they say.
The standard version of this pen, like they were able to go down to the exact pen model. The standard version is considered one of the nicest fountain pens there is, and generally goes for about $200.
Huh.
Wow. Wow.
So it actually is a very nice fountain pen, and for what it is, reasonably priced.
Well, this is what I mean about functionality.
Yeah, like this apparently actually
Like with this where the stationary stands kind of fail, this would
Yes.
be a functional fountain pen that people would actually
Yeah.
want to use.
Like the person was even saying, even if you leave the ink in there, it'll probably be fine as long as you don't use. Then they named some specific ink that clots easily, and like they're actually saying that this actually is a good. The normal version of this is a really good pen that's generally considered the best. So it's not like the marketing text is not puffery this time, which is kind of shocking because you like even looking at it and going nice, you're like, oh, it looks nice. It's probably crap, and you're probably paying for the art. So it's almost kind of shocking to hear someone say, no, this is actually like the best of the best fountain pen.
I'm actually surprised that the fountain pen community has come to a consensus on what the best of the best fountain pen is. I figured that would be something everyone argues about.
To be fair, they
be a consensus.
Boo. To be fair, it is just the comments of one person, but I looked around and it does seem to be a generally liked pen. Not much in the way of
doesn't like the pen Reddit subreddit like go kind of nuts over pens? Like that's just what I haven't gone.
Oh no, there's a mad.
Oh sure.
Pens.
Oh no. I didn't look at the pen subreddit. It just happened that someone commented and then that had me look around. It's like, oh, the normal version of this pen actually is considered like really fucking good.
If people go hard into pens, like
people go
hard
really hard.
No.
Into
if you're
pens.
gonna like pens, you may as well fucking go balls deep in it, right?
I don't know if actually Milo I think is kind of into pens. I don't know if she's into fountain pens per se, but
I believe
I've had pen conversations with Milo.
Yeah, I believe she did flip out about this a bit. We didn't talk about it a lot because she was having computer issues and I was helping her work through those. But yeah, I'm just trying to. I can't imagine spending after the intermediary fees $300 on a pen. The problem is my interest lay in other stuff that I would spend $300 on stupidly.
Yeah.
But this feels like something we might actually see people get. Like I think we only saw 1 or 2 or 3 people get the watch that we theoretically know. We might
get the Epic. That's what I want to know.
That wasn't even.
Here's the thing: everyone needs to tell time. Everyone, gets earwax. Not everyone uses fountain pens.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
But we'll see. And on top of that, a lot more people are gonna buy the new adventure card set, and this is both like really interesting what they've done, and also a little strange because I was surprised to see this. So it's a set of collector's cards, not game cards. 72 cards, 36 are normal, 36 are hollow. 20 of them are new, and 10 are the in-show cards that activate the gate, which is hilariously fun.
But aren't these all just re-releases?
No, and that's part of what we'll go over because that's where it starts to get weird. They're going to include a binder, a collector's box, and a booklet. It's 8,800 yen, and pre-orders close about a little bit over a week because January 6th it ships in March. So here's where it gets weird. They're not all the original cards. Some of them are new based on the ED theme drawings, but they've been redrawn cleanly for cards. They fully admit, though, they don't have the masters for these cards anymore.
Huh.
They've scanned them, they've re-cleaned them up. For most of them, these are recreations because the cards don't exist anymore.
So they're basically just official proxies.
But it gets weirder when you consider the new stuff, including Omegamon and Diablomon, who aren't actually in Adventure, even though they count because of the movie, but they're not in the show. And where it gets weirder is they've said there's going to be 20 new cards. So if you count the 10 gate cards as new, which I'm not sure if they are or not. There's only.
I don't think they're new, right? I swear they were in the old set. Or at least I've seen official versions of those cards before. Like I would have bet money on it.
But that's where let's say those don't count. So we get the ED card, so there's 16 there, 17 and 18 for the movie. What are the last two? Like, let's say there is 2 extra spaces. What do you put there?
Omegamon and Omegamon again.
I'm just trying not to laugh at that, but
No, go ahead and laugh. It's funny.
now the question.
And also not surprising if it was the case.
But that's where I don't know. It's just like even some of the art we're looking at in the preview images doesn't match what they show in the cards. Like if you look at the art of Tai Chi from the ED, it shows him there. But they're also showing the art of War Greymon and Metal Garurumon like standing there regally.
Yep.
But that's not the art of them on the card. So are we gonna get 2 War Greymon, 2 Metal Garurumon?
Would not be surprised.
But that means we're getting 3 of them because they had normal cards that are being reprinted also.
Huh.
It's just a bit odd, and I'm wondering what they're gonna do there. I get the feeling this is one that a lot of people are gonna get, though, to be honest.
I was tempted to pre-order it, but then I was like, I'm not sure if I need it. I like it.
That means May's gonna buy it.
I have so many cards, though.
And moving on from cards,
Fuck it, I'll pre-order it.
May, you're allowed to wait until the shows. They will still exist.
Get to the end of the merchandise section, and then kind of let us know what your decisions are and what you're buying.
So then we have
Okay.
So
that should be like a segment at the end of every. Merch section.
So then we have the calendars, which 2 different Toei animation calendars, both with like really nice summer themed artwork this time.
Yeah.
And then there's
the volleyball one.
The volleyball one has a lot of personality.
Has some good energy, yeah.
Yes, it does.
I like the one where TK is kicking water at Tai. I don't know what is wrong with Patamon.
He's just like looking at everyone who's following behind.
He's just.
I know, but there's something about his
he has
ear
a
position.
chin.
Yeah. Also,
Patamon, I'm not used to Patamon with a neck.
My favorite part about that image is look at Tentomon. Even though he's tiny, you can tell he's like really upset at those crows.
Also, why are they crows and not like Digimon crows? Are they? I guess they're in the real world.
Seemingly.
Probably.
Yeah.
But also, Palmon looks like she's got a double chin. So I think they've all just eaten too much over the Christmas holidays.
Apparently not. Sora's burning the barbecue.
Summer, because it's not the summer holidays.
Yeah. And then there was the one sheet poster, which since then we've actually found out what it was. We've seen at one point we weren't even sure if it was real because the art layout on the preview is really strange if you like zoom in and look at it. We've seen multiple people in Japan who do have it. At least one person apparently got it at a hospital.
Huh.
So it seemingly was some sort of promotional giveaway, but we're not. It's probably just, hey, look, cartoon poster here.
I like how they
calendar.
have
Here you go.
Anime Boyfriend #1 there.
Okay.
You gotta be way more specific.
Yeah. That's not specific enough on.
Oh come on! There's only one person who could be Anime Boyfriend in that poster. And
Omegamon?
it's not the guy with the butt face.
Frieza?
No.
Chopper?
Goku?
No.
May, who the fuck are you talking about? There's way too many fucking characters.
Zoro, have you seen him? He holds a sword in his fucking mouth.
Zoro would have been like my last guess, to be honest.
I don't know who your husbands are.
I'm not even sure if we knew that you liked One Piece.
Of course I like One Piece, it's cool.
Okay, we'll move past the calendars, which it is the weirdest part.
You should have just said yes at Chopper.
I'm just more weirded out. Like there's new art on the front that we're never gonna like. I understand like the nice art spread on the inside, but like some of this front art is stuff we've never seen before and we'll never see again. It's really fucking weird that they do that. Like the first calendar, I don't believe those shots of Taichi, Yamato, and Agumon I've seen before. That Gabumon I think we've seen before. But some of the
It's nice that we get new stuff.
But like some of these, we can't even clearly see the art, and we're never going to see them again, and it's really strange.
Honestly, that's how calendars should work. I want calendars to have original art on it.
No, I do too. On the inside, there shouldn't be original art on the outside that's half covered up and we can't see. Moving on to the game stuff. 2 different interviews with HABU from Silicon Era. The Cyber Sleuth one's really weird because that interview could be from 2 years ago and you wouldn't notice.
Yeah, the Cyber Sleuth one didn't have all that much.
I think the only thing from the Cyber Sleuth one that was new was basically that the adventure game inspired Cyber Sleuth.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that before, but playing the game, you can.
Well, to be fair, it starts up.
When I was kind of playing both of them at the same time, I could kind of see the resemblance.
Well, it also starts with an adventure logo, to be fair, but I don't think they've ever said that.
Yeah.
The Survive logo sort of fits into the same vein, where it's sort of stuff we knew, and I'm wondering if there's mistranslations or if HABU has sort of forgotten some stuff, because some of this is wrong. Like when he talks about how Digimon are an adventure, that's not there. I think he's remembering conversations he's had with Kakudo rather than the show.
Yeah, that's more backstory Bible-ish.
Yeah, that's not anything that is part of Adventure or anything that's come since for Adventure, minus maybe the novels. But that's nothing that anyone who watches Adventure would know.
Yeah,
it's
a very Kakudo thing, but you can kind of see it.
But the show's also
Adventure felt like really the first place to treat the digital world like it was a fantasy realm.
But
Adventure and primarily Kakudo's contribution to it is why Digimon. We always say Digimon's isekai. As opposed to
I don't think we always say that. I think some people say that.
I say it.
I know, but I'm saying that like the fandom as a group does not generally say that though.
Well, they're wrong.
but stuff like the Shinigami and Yokai stuff, if you watch Adventure in 02, the shows don't even agree on that point. Like they kind of say the opposite, that they are explicitly digital beings. I'm reasonably sure he's remembering a conversation with Kakudo, which is fair enough, but that's not what Adventure is, though.
It's more they're digital beings now, but they may have been more akin. Their origin may have been more akin to yokai, and kind of gradually became digital.
Now, oddly, do you think he's accidentally misremembering Cross Wars because that's where I believe, the first game he was lead producer on? Because that is. Because that is what they said that in Cross Wars, that it was not explicitly a digital world. It's just that's the point where the worlds became explicitly connected.
I thought Cross Wars did say it was explicitly digital.
It was a digital style world that existed separate from it. Just they connected digitally.
I thought it connected. I thought it was digital to begin with and connected to the internet. I have to watch that Arcadimon episode again.
It's a digital.
The kid hasn't gotten to that point yet.
It is a digital world in function that only fully connected to the human world because of the internet and other stuff. But
if we're looking to Cross Wars for world building, I think we're getting off track because that's not the place to go for world building.
Quite possibly.
It tries.
It tries in one episode.
One episode, once, and I'm pretty sure that's the episode that also has Arcademon in it.
That's what I said. It's like that's the Arcademon episode.
Yeah. And then we got a bunch of Survive updates. Like, they've thrown more at us in the last month for Survive than they have in a year and a half.
Which is good, because it means people stop asking if it's cancelled.
They know what they're doing. They're like, okay, let's hype Survive up a little bit while everyone's kind of buzzing.
We had a bunch of different story updates, which to a degree, all the story stuff we sort of had. It just wasn't coherent.
Yeah, it's getting more cohesive, and I like it.
Yeah, we're starting to get more character details, actors. We found out what engine the game is on, which I'm honestly surprised they went back to Unity, considering the last time they did a Digimon game on Unity, it exploded in their faces.
Huh.
So, to be fair, Unity's gotten easier to work with, and other companies have done some impressive stuff with it, so we'll see. And Fangmon finally gets an appearance in something other than a card or a mobile game.
I suspect we're going to be saying a lot of that when the game comes out. It's like, oh, they're putting this guy in.
Yeah. And for some reason, am I wrong, or in the last month and a half, have they been really excited to show that shot of the scissors? I swear we've seen that like 3 or 4 different places.
Yeah, I don't get that. I think it's trying to show that, you can interact, you can notice stuff that's sort of playing up the investigation element. At the same time, nothing on that screenshot what didn't already exist in Cybersleuth, and the investigation side of Cybersleuth wasn't all that interesting.
You aren't.
It still gets me. I mean,
you
the
are,
overall effect of everything kind of gets me excited, though.
I do feel like the excitement has increased a lot, especially in the past like week and a half. I still have the general concern that we're not being shown much in the realm of gameplay actually being exciting. It's a lot of more minutia, which is really neat to see.
I'm more for the minutia anyway.
But
I mean, I like the impression that there's an investigation element. I like the impression that there could be some sort of non-linear options.
I mean,
I don't know if any of this will end up being. Yeah, Floramon's. I like that Floramon in those shots have different poses and lighting and expressions.
Yeah. And the weird part is, and they we've only really seen this like in one shot where Saki apparently gets a haircut at some point in the game, which suggests one or two things, mostly in the sense of it feels like it might be dead or haircut, possibly. Because that's one of those weird Japanese plots that does show up a lot where the girl will either get killed or her hair will partially get cut and then she cuts it all off to show, self-realization, actualization.
Didn't that happen in Naruto?
It happened in Naruto, Eureka. It happens in a lot. That's sort of why it makes me think that way, even though I'm probably wrong.
The idea of some incident slicing their hair off is a pretty common one, and so is the doing it voluntarily.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
happens at the end of Try even.
But it's generally Try, yes. I'm talking about more in the middle of plots. When it happens voluntarily, it's often where something else has just happened, even partially hair getting cut off, like different.
Yeah.
But it's weird because they aren't really showing us her like that elsewhere. So I'm wondering if it's just like because the photo isn't bad, if it's just an art quirk, because it could be if you really look at it carefully.
Yeah.
Like we might be able to see her hair behind, but it feels like it's an entirely different haircut, which makes the mind wonder what's going on.
Well, that's the whole point of all of this, is to get the mind wondering, like, what sort of possibilities are we going to have here? And so far, I'm liking I'm liking what's being presented so far. Like, this is getting me excited for the game.
I do not disagree. I want to see more game stuff. Like, I'm not... And that does go back to what we've said before, where they seem to be downplaying the actual game, and that does concern me, because I actually want to play...
I don't think anyone expects them to reinvent the wheel as far as survival horror gameplay, or as far as, tactical strategy. That style
you're not wrong. But it would be nice for them to focus on...
That's not putting their best foot forward.
But it would be nice if when they did talk about, they didn't go, a lot of people are going to think this is simple and won't like it. And it's like, don't tell us that. Just show the game.
The thing is, I like simple with this sort of stuff. Like, I don't
want
to be confronted with too many things, because I'm not. If you're an enthusiast of a particular genre, yes, you want additional complexity and wrinkles. If you're somebody who sort of like a Digimon fan who sort of samples the water with different things, yeah, you don't want to be given too much at one time.
You're not wrong.
Simple works.
It works when it's done really well. We'll just see.
As with Cyber Sleuth.
Yeah.
Like Cyber Sleuth, the game is nothing to sneeze at, and it's one of the. It ended up being received really well.
I could do with less.
It was received well the first time. Since then, for all the even fans haven't really jumped on buying. Even Hacker's Memory had sales issues. It really felt like
I
something people jumped
I
on
can't replay
once.
Yeah.
I did not realize how slow it was until
You
I
were really
tried to play it for a second time.
you were really excited to replay it too. I remember.
I
Yeah,
could play
because
it
I
again.
really I loved Cyber Sleuth. It was like such a good game when it came out on the Vita. What 3 years ago? But I just I can't replay it. It's just so slow at the start and nothing happens for so long.
Yeah,
And I know
that's
that's a
fair.
problem with a lot of games. Like, I know like this Persona series always has like something that feels like a 5 hour long tutorial.
Yeah,
But
Persona.
I
Yeah,
don't
Persona
know.
for sure has that 3 hour long introduction. It's not even a tutorial because there's
Yeah,
almost
like you
no
won't.
actual gameplay in it. There's like 3 hour. You know,
No,
it's 2 3 hours. You're not
it's a plot.
exaggerating with that, and there's maybe 5 minutes of actual gameplay in that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
at least in Persona 5, they dropped you into to something that was sort of happening
Yeah,
not at the
yeah.
start of the game. Sort of, it was sort of
It's
like
not a
some
tutorial fight.
gameplay,
It's
and
a tutorial dungeon.
the one
yeah,
odd
and that was
thing.
pretty neato.
Sorry, go ahead, mate.
I was just saying that was pretty neato. Like that was the end. That was my sentence. I
One,
just really liked that. But yeah,
but when we bring up the slow start to a game, it's kind of weird because we've heard so much about the early stuff of Survive. It feels like that could either be 5 minutes or 2 hours. Like when you think about how much,
yeah.
because
Given how much they've shared with us, I'm leaning more towards 2 hours.
I don't know. See, because with a tactical game like this, battles can take so long. You kind of want to throw someone into a battle quickly.
Oh, I mean
Yeah.
that 2 hours will include a tutorial battle, I'm sure, but that counts.
Yeah, it does. We'll see. I want to see more interesting gameplay stuff because we just haven't seen that much of it. Oddly, the map screen to me, it looked like I've joked that the game kind of looks like the old Tenchi tactical RPG. The map screen looks shockingly like that, and it actually surprised me a bit. I do like the very small phone icons for the characters, though.
Yeah.
Those are great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll see what else pops up. It feels like we have to start getting more relevant information soon because they're soon is about all we can say on that. Anything left for Survive?
Just Floramon is hype. It's really nice to see
The way they're
Floramon. Like,
using Floramon is hype. Floramon herself being there doesn't do a lot, but just the way that they're presenting her as a partner
yeah.
character.
I mean, all
I
of the
like.
Digimon who aren't Agumon that are sort of not haven't
Yeah,
been shown that much. Like even Fangmon being there, that's pretty
Yep,
hype.
Fangmon is in
Unlike,
there.
I
Kunemon
know
as a
like
partner is an interesting
yeah,
choice.
Kunemon's great. Falcomon, especially that Falcomon.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they're using some Digimon that's great, and I know when Survive was first announced and you'd have an Agumon, everyone was kind of like, oh, they always use like Agumon. Like, well, yeah, he's the fucking mascot, mate.
Yeah.
Get used to it.
Although
But
to
it's
be
really
fair,
great they
Agumon,
use other
you know,
guys.
I take that back now. I
What?
take that back. I was gonna say Agumon isn't a player character choice, but being Nokia's partner sort of.
Yeah.
Although I will say, and we kind of discussed it, does it feel like they're pushing more and more it being based on adventure even more than they were earlier?
I think that's just smart marketing.
Oh no, it is,
Yeah.
but it was talked about more than I expected, especially when they would basically go, well, it's inspired by Digimon Adventure, so Agumon, and like
Yeah.
It's adventure, but we acknowledge the chance we have in this format to allow characters to die.
Oh.
I'm not as impressed with that as others are until I see what happens in the game. Because I think they might be overselling that aspect.
Yeah.
I think
Because they've also said there's only like 3 paths.
Yeah, that's true.
So
the 3 paths thing is confusing to me.
Yeah, it
But
makes
maybe the 3 paths also has a couple different options for side characters.
I would hope so, but they've basically said partway through the game it splits into 1 to 3 paths, and they might add a 4th if they have the time.
You sort of think about it in terms of Hacker's Memory, which has 1 path. Let's be real about that. But they also have little side stuff like the market thing.
Yeah.
Like you can decide whether to blow up the market or not.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're hopefully gonna rely on, branching out even in a single path that have little side stuff here and there.
Hopefully.
Dating sim.
Yep.
That is apparently HABU's dream.
Of course it is.
Doki Digimon Academy.
And moving on from Survive, we have a lot of site stuff this time. 6 more shows from the lead up, which only two of these were new ones from me. 2 were classic ones that I did because I was busy, and 2 were guest ones. Still need to watch.
Bokura no.
Yes, it is too bad that I did not ask May to do a guest slot, which she has not done. Cough.
Okay, I'll do Bokura no then. Because I'm constantly in a state of trying to get people to either watch Higurashi or Bokura no, and they don't watch. No one ever watches either. So Higurashi's too long. So. Oh my god, that's a fucking Digimon in Dragon Pilot.
I believe that's why DevQ picked it. Was she was like, it's Digimon, but it's flying dragons who turn into jets.
Doesn't that have like the VA of Ken in it?
I think so.
The
Yeah,
Japanese version.
yeah, I believe she's in it.
Cool, he is.
And moving on from that, because I, for some reason, put in too much effort doing Digimonica again this year, we start off with a Savers mini calendar. So there, we made.
I'm just happy for the nostalgia that Savers had chintzy crap merchandise the same way that Kizuna and Tried have them now.
To be fair, this feels even chintzier. To be like, it is a marketing 4-month calendar. The only page.
Yeah, be happy that the current stuff occasionally puts them in new poses, new clothes, and new art styles. Because back then,
they didn't try shit.
You get the standard art on everything.
But it still is interesting, especially since I don't know if I've seen this before.
I don't even know how that functions as a calendar.
I believe you pull off the front part and then the pages slide in. Vandy scanned it and she's not willing to disassemble it, which I don't blame her, but it does mean we can't see it as it's meant to be used. I think the calendar pages are like slips, and you slip them in after popping out the front piece. Because if you look carefully, you can kind of see where it's joined on.
Yeah.
So I think that's what the intention is, but I'm not sure. And then day 2. Everyone loves the new model kit, so here's the old Reboot one. And DevQ did scans and photos, and I also went over the kind of weird history of the model kit. Because it does get weirder when you consider it's on shelves again, slightly different. This model kit will still be sold 10 years from now, I'm sure. I feel like AR wants to say something.
No.
You were about to, though.
I want you to get to... I'm waiting for you to get to number 3, because number 3 is actually interesting.
Yeah. Number 3 is the DigiFest booklet, the scans, and the interview with Kizuna's director.
Mm-hmm. I do want... I really hope that Onke has time to do the other interviews, because the adventure ones were kind of nice. I want to just kind of hear again from the other producers for the other shows. I want to hear someone reflect on Frontier. Like, seriously, what do you have to say for yourself?
Hopefully, sorry.
No. I want to go back and get their thoughts on things in hindsight.
Yeah, I mean we did get a bit of that earlier this year from one of the writers.
Okay, fine. Let's do that. Okay, change Frontier to Savers. Like, talk about Savers and what thoughts.
And one of my favorite parts is the art of the adventure and the O2 kids. People who have cropped the images and passing them around are trying to say it's the signatures of the characters
Well,
I love that.
because
That's
they're that
silly.
dumb and clueless.
Yeah.
Now the
Yeah,
interview.
that Tailmon autograph totally looks like how she'd sign something.
Mm.
Yes, that's the best one because that's the one where she signed her name in English.
Yeah.
And
She put thought into that.
yeah. Now on to the actual interview with Tomohisa Taguchi. This is more detailed than these normally
this
are.
is way more than I was expecting for a little booklet.
And the most terrifying part the most terrifying and interesting part of this interview is that his favorite movie was Hurricane Touchdown.
Yeah, like, oh dear God.
Yeah,
He has touched the marijuana at least once in his life.
Yeah.
Well, I assume it's like you watched it when it was young, which, like, okay, if you're watching it when you're young, you can kind of get. There's a weird trippy effect to watching that movie.
Yeah.
I think I liked it when I was a kid and I saw it in.
I thought you were going to say I liked.
Version.
I swear I thought like I liked it more when I was on marijuana.
No, no, I liked it when it was like a third of the size and part of the Digimon movie.
Oh, it
when
worked.
I was a kid.
Yeah,
think.
same.
It worked.
I hated it watching it as part of the Digimon movie, and then I watched it in Japanese and hated it even more.
I mean, I think I liked the cut bit of the original children being spirited away, but like
yeah, that's true. That part was okay.
I feel like it had better flow, except for that part where, like, when they edit in when Davis starts crying and Willis tells him to just sort of to stop crying. He's like, okay, like, well, why?
That was classic Davis though.
Davis
seems like such a Davis moment, not necessarily a Daisuke moment, just a Davis moment.
I still remember the first time I saw the Japanese version of the movie on VHS. I remember it was just after school day, the tape had shown up. I sat down to watch it, and then I woke up 3 hours later.
Yeah, yep. I remember the first time I watched the movie, I kept hovering over the time bar going, how much longer is this thing? Dear God.
That was me with X Evolution.
Yeah, that one can do that too.
Yeah, I just remember...
okay, share your memory, and I wanted to bring up another point. More relevant to Kizuna.
May, I think he was talking to you.
Oh, right, sorry. Like, I will never understand why people want X Evolution to be released in English. Like, can they've spared us this? Be thankful. Like, it's not good. It's I mean, it has good it has good ideas, but it's a solid like.
X Evolution does have a lot of good ideas. That is
it's a
one thing I will always give it credit for, because a lot of the movies, like post Hosoda, don't have a lot of ideas in them.
No. I mean, I think I like the Savers one just because I like the Savers Digimon. I like that they have personalities, sort of.
I just think Rhythm is an interesting character.
Yeah.
They don't really do anything to explore that, but
no.
Yeah.
I feel like the Savers movie felt like it was a very quick movie. I felt like it could have been more than 20 minutes. It felt very quickly resolved. The X Evolution is the fucking opposite. I felt like that could have been cut down and it would have been phenomenal almost. To say if it just cut out some random parts, maybe just Doraemon screaming "This child is dead" for 3 hours would have been great.
I cannot imagine making that movie shorter would make it better. Minus that it would just be shorter.
Well, that is in itself better.
If they're not going to explain what's actually happening, you might as well make it short.
Yeah.
And I'd say the same thing.
There's some lore behind it.
Yeah, there's a ton of lore behind it. Too bad we don't know what it is.
If you read like all the stuff that's available online about it, it's great, but they didn't include any of that in the fucking movie.
You basically have to read Chronicle to understand what's going on with that.
Yeah. And meanwhile, like the other movies, like the Tamers movie with the dog was apparently incredibly boring, but I couldn't stop crying. It's very like I can't like put a dog in a movie and make it.
I'm glad you mentioned
slightly
that because
emotional.
we're gonna circle back to that a little bit later. I have a point to make about the first Tamers movie.
Also, I'm fairly confident that the My Hero Academia movie that came out like last year was just the first Tamers movie again. Like it was incredibly fucking similar, and it was just that movie, but long.
May, did seeing these break you? You
Yes, I have a lot of emotions about the movies, all of them, except for the train one. Actually, no, I have emotions about the train one too.
I have no emotion. Well, I guess
The
I have some
Frontier
emotions about
movie
the train.
is the best part of
The
Frontier.
Frontier movie is the best out of all of those. It's
have
amazing.
That on my fucking grave.
How did
I will go to the fucking.
How did Frontier rise above all of this other stuff? That Frontier movie was solid.
Let's move on. Let's move on from talking about every Digimon movie except the one that we're actually talking about.
I was gonna make my final point.
Make your final point, and then let's move on from the movies that from 20 years ago.
I should not hold it against him that he liked movie 3 because that style can be done well. It just didn't happen in movie 3. So like you can take that style and kind of make something interesting out of that.
It's an art piece.
It was an attempted art piece, yes.
Bless you, May.
It was a very appropriately timed sneeze.
The problem is when you guys say it's an art piece, I think of the banana taped to the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Anything's a fucking art piece if you say it is.
Yeah, that's exactly. Okay.
No, let's leave it there.
Yeah. Okay, AR. I think you said you had one more thing about the Kizuna interview to mention, or was that actually it?
Well, no. I was going to also mention the notion about other characters, old chosen children returning, which obviously connect the dots here and seem to connect that suggests that Wallace will make an appearance.
Oh my god. I love Wallace.
Oh no, that seems weird.
The internet. I think
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't think it does for one key reason. The only people who really, really, really do care are the people who care whether it counts or not.
Right.
Like
I say don't worry about it. Because Kai showed up in Tamers.
Yeah.
Because all the evidence you need that just because somebody specifically from the movie shows up in another piece does not make that movie canon.
Well, that's
also,
the weird.
He's Davis in the English version, and that was I could just never not see that.
Well, the weird.
That's right. Brian Donovan did that.
I'm glad that's
exactly like Davis.
Well, the weird thing about canon that a lot of people seem to understand is it's very fluid.
Yeah, really.
Like here's the thing: 402 and Try. Hurricane Touchdown doesn't happen. There are plenty of times to bring it up, especially during Try when they start showing characters from other movies.
I think Try did a really good job, sort of.
It is canon in the dub.
Not really. They kind of kept that ambiguous whether they'd see
Graphimon
and Holy Dramon.
I'm kind of mad.
I disagree because they don't go to much effort for most of them when they show up. They're more.
What about Mimi's shoes in the Try poster?
Say again.
What about Mimi's shoes in the Try poster?
Oh, you're talking about the shoes with 02. Yeah, that.
Yep. Because that was the funniest fucking internet proof of 02 being canon in Try that I've ever fucking seen in my entire life.
Yeah, she has stars on her shoes, and it looks like, and the shoes kind of look like the shirt that she wore a few times.
I can't believe that everyone focused on that and not just pointing out, Takeru and Hikari have the same uniforms that Taichi, Sora, and Yamato wore in 02.
Yeah.
But if they're gonna retcon 02, go all in with that, please.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to day 4. Bunch of photos and some videos from the 20th anniversary tour.
I wanted to go on this. This would have been fun.
May, I could have imagined May flying out there, then spending $300 for the tour.
I totally would. That's not even that bad.
No, I wasn't making a joke, to be honest.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fair.
Lots of interesting stuff. The second part taking place at the Toei Museum when it was closed was really interesting to me. And the video of Agumon giving Gabumon the business. was great. This one, there's not a lot to say about because it feels like you really have to see everything, doesn't it?
I want to hug the Gabumon costume. It just looks really, really soft and really like nice to hold. I just kind of want to give it a bit of a cuddle, and I feel like even on a bad day, that would make everything feel right with the world. Like, it just looks really nice and cuddly, and I would just like to like tell all my problems to Gabumon, and I think everything would be all right with the world. Also, why does Gabumon look so mad in that like whiteboard drawing? He looks grumpy. Maybe I don't want to hug him.
1 second, I need to check the whiteboard drawing again. I think it's more like he's supposed to be like shyly waving.
No, it looks like he's like angrily threatening me, and then the mascot is the complete opposite. Like, one is like, I'll put these in you if you come near me, and the other's like, please hug me, I will make all your problems disappear.
You're not going to comment on Palmon?
Yeah, that's very cute, but like, I'm just distracted by the threat from Gabumon, but also Gabumon wants to hug me. I'm very emotional about Gabumon being so cuddly. I just want to
hug you when it's appropriate. Your
AR, whatever you're saying's cutting out entirely.
I think AR broke.
Try again, AR.
Oh, I was going to say that that's what makes Gabumon the best. Is he will give you a hug when it's appropriate, and he will bite your hand when it's appropriate.
I don't think Gabumon has anything in him that would make him bite me.
Teeth?
Oh, I mean, like, personality-wise, he just doesn't seem the type.
Not normally, but when it's called for.
Maybe.
Maybe
He's a very reasonable Digimon.
Maybe he'll be upset that you prefer the Diablomon figure to the Metal Garurumon one.
Well, I like the Gabumon inside the Metal Garurumon. He's very cute. He's all like, he looks chibi because they made him all fat.
And moving on from that to day 5, the Omegamon gem. I don't know. I really fucking love this figure, to be honest. Like, okay, May, you didn't get this one, correct?
No, but I'm kind of glad I didn't. For some reason, all the images I've seen make it look kind of like things we've already got.
It doesn't photograph well because of the colors they use, but like it looks spectacular in person.
I mean, I can imagine that, yeah.
Like, I feel like the best shot of showing off the way the paint works is the close-up I got of the War Greymon head, where it's just so shiny and amazing.
Yeah.
The
thing with Omegamon is that he always looks like he's got something wrong with his tummy. Like, his tummy looks like it's literally twisted and, like, uncomfortable. Also, is that Lupin the Third for scale?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair.
It had just arrived. I had worked on it. It was what was sitting there, and I'm like, I'm taking photos right now, and I'm just looking at what's right next to me. Blu-ray that just came. Bam.
Legitimate.
Yeah. But it is a huge figure. It's kind of shocking how fucking big it is.
Yeah, he's too big. I do like the blue thing that they got that sort of goes with the base, but he just looks far too big. I don't know. Though, having said that, like, as soon as Ulforce comes up, that I can, I'll put him wherever I can, the most visible as possible, because I love him so much.
And then day 6 is the UK season 2 DVD set.
Quick question on this.
Sure.
Is this the same, like, basically more or less the same as we got in Australia? Because everything looks the same
it's more or less the same. It's just really weird in the sense that in the UK, they had like the first part of season 1 released like 3, 4, 5, 6 times over a decade.
Yeah.
And then they throw out the season 1 box, and then a month and a half later, they got season 2. And it's like, it was like October was a full box of season 1 after a decade of false starts in the UK. And then November season 2, and just really fucking weird that it happened that quickly. It's just really odd. And more odd is the reversible covers where they've redesigned the actual layouts. For some reason, that just weirds me out.
Yeah.
Because it takes effort to make layouts, and they've redesigned everything. It's really strange to me. And day 7 and 8, we'll see how those go. Hopefully well. And then we had 2 different anniversaries. Tri was 4 years old, and V-Tamer was 21 years old. And that was
I can't believe Tri was only 4 years ago because, I mean, and I've mentioned this, I'm not sure if on this podcast, but definitely in general, that Tri basically sparked the Digimon Renaissance for me. And I mean, I still liked Digimon at the time, but I felt like the fandom was pretty dead until Tri was.
Tri.
That's we can get into that later when we talk about the decade.
And even if anyone hates Tri, that's fine. Hate Tri, but like no one can deny that it definitely sort of was the start of.
Oh, I've seen people try. That's not a word pun, by the way. I just couldn't think of another word in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and V-Tamer being 21 years old on the same day is neat.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about this? This kind of fits into the topic later, so it's kind of easy to jump past it, though.
I love V-Tamer.
I want
everyone to know.
Then some streaming updates. Fusion's gone as we expected. And they, in Japan, they added the movies to Amazon Prime. Fuji TV added a bunch of shows to their service. Do we have anything further to say about this?
No.
Nope. Moving on. A few media updates. We found out what the exclusives were for Amazon and Animate. Amazon gets photo prints of the 6 poster covers, which is odd because if we get decent scans of these, that might be the cleanest ones we have of these. And Animate gets a nice big cloth poster of the Part 6 home video cover, which I think that's a good bonus.
Yeah, that's a nice bonus.
Although for some reason my brain keeps telling me I think we got this bonus somewhere else. It might have just been a normal poster, though. It feels like something we've gotten, if not anything else.
Well, I mean, there's been posters of the theatrical.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean specifically the home video Part 6. It feels like we got a poster of that somewhere, and I don't know where, though. And as a bit of surprise, the theme song to Encounter Sparkling Light has come out on an album, which is Shake Up. It's not odd because it's out, but it feels like once the song was announced, we didn't hear anything else about it, and then it's like, oh, this came out on CD a few weeks ago now.
Was that a licensed song?
No, I believe it was a new song made for the game by a Japanese anime and game singer. And then it's just on her new album with a bunch of other songs.
Neato.
I mean, it's weird for Encounter specifically, but it's not weird in general.
No.
Accenture, it was all over.
It
was all over her CD. So
yeah,
she's performed it in concert. I got to see it.
And a few different additional bits of music news. First up, they're doing a concert to celebrate the 20th anniversary of, releasing Digimon CDs. January 11th at the Animate Ikebukuro main store, and you get tickets by buying Digimon CDs at various locations. The lineup's the interesting part, and anytime we get a lineup like this, it kind of makes the mind wonder what they're doing, because it feels like stuff like this isn't by accident. So we get Ayumi Miyazaki, no shock. AIM, of course. Yuto Kazama. When was the last time he was at an official thing? Does anyone remember the last time we saw him at an official event? I take the silence as a no. Because we have not seen the original Yamato at an official. He's been at a few secondary ones. But it's just interesting. And Miyazaki's concert was a few weeks ago, where normally we would have just gone, that happened, but he released a new mini album there, which oddly enough, guess who shows up at it? Yuto Kazama's in the song. So it's just very odd that, I mean, so some of it's coincidental, but I still wonder why he's going to be at the music event, but we'll see. And the big weird news from earlier this week, Butterfly is charting in Japan.
I love this.
That's great.
Like charting in multiple places. It's 8th. It was the 8th most downloaded anime song for the period. It was it was 3rd place trending on Twitter. It was 4th at karaoke shops, 10th on various video playback sites, and even if you ignore the anime chart and go to like the normal download chart in Japan, it was 32. And like, I mean, you want to talk about the power of a movie trailer? Holy shit! The song is charting after 20 years because there's no reason I can think of why it would chart minus that it was in the trailer.
Oh, definitely the trailer.
Yeah.
No doubt.
No, yeah, there's no doubt. It's just, it's kind of fucking shocking that it's charting after 20 years. It's it's just kind of surreal. Anything else to say about the music charting?
No,
it's just a really
nice.
good Christmas song.
Yeah.
And then Graph Art is doing a 3rd collaboration. And am I wrong, or is this the best Graph Art artwork we've gotten so far?
I prefer the circus art.
Really?
I don't particularly like this style. Isn't particularly my favorite. So
okay.
It's just the style and the poses are all stuff we've seen before. Like it's a nice throwback, especially the 02 art. Mimicking their album covers, but otherwise it's very
okay. Fair enough.
Otherwise, the poses are very ordinary to me.
Fair enough. May, have you ordered any of this stuff?
Well, besides the one I already mentioned, no.
Do you plan to order any of this stuff?
Obviously Survive.
No, May, the Graph Art stuff.
Oh, the Graph Art stuff.
You know, sorry, the stuff we're talking about, May.
Sorry, I thought you were still because you mentioned you'd mention it after all the merch was done. Not yet, but at least like something with Miyako on it because I love Miyako or Mimi or Mimi rather. I love Miyako.
You're gonna get the Miyako sticky note holder case, aren't you?
Whatever I can really find.
Whatever you can get, yeah.
Like, or maybe I like clear files. They're kind of cute. I just really like Miyako, even though that pose, like, I mean, a little bit ago I did a cosplay of Miyako and I tried to recreate the pose, and it's a really awkward pose, but I love it.
That's one thing. I like the throwback to the 02 album art. It also kind of reminds us that the 02 album art is really awkward for a lot of characters.
Yes.
I don't know. I just like the Omegamon on the bag.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, so the initial pop...
Even then, Yuri's pose is kind of strange.
Oh, they're all strange. They're all meant for emphasis on an album cover. Once you remove them from the album cover and look at them as people, you have concerns. Yes. So the main location that they had done it was already closed. They've since done it. They're doing it 5 more in the online store. This is one where it's weird because like the 02 art is, as has been mentioned, is clearly flashback to other stuff. It felt like everyone liked the adventure art this time better, even though this is the first time we've seen the 02 stuff in this kind of art. You would think the 02 would have gotten...
I only heard about the people talking about the 02 art.
No, people were talking about it, but I'm saying people weren't necessarily thinking it was better, is what I mean. Like, people were excited the 02 kids were there, but the discussion was mostly that they were there or that, it's the album cover art. Like, people
Which is the only thing that makes that interesting to me.
Like, people really like the Palmon, I heard a lot. Like, her standing there with her arms up, people seem to really like. And the Adventure Tailmon, people seem to like better than the 02 one. Which I thought the Adventure one, it's cute, but it's kind of boring to me. And Gabumon kind of freaks me out for some reason. He looks like a gremlin or something. More pop-up news, shop stuff. They added mostly the plushies and some rubber. For some reason, the rubber luggage tags, every time I read that, I laugh. I don't know why.
It's weird because I could get one of those luggage tags. Like, of all of the stuff on there, the luggage was the one that goes, I could own that.
Yeah.
And that was like the only thing. Everything else is like, I could pass.
Yeah. And they announced lucky bags for the pop-up shop. I want to know what's in them. They're roughly $50 each, and I feel like most people who watch anime have seen something about this type of bag, where the New Year's deal bags that have stuff in them. And they've announced
These
that
are huge in Japan in general. Like,
Yeah.
the mystery bags, we saw people literally, like, queuing up around the fucking street for them. So that, like, I think they're just really big in Japan. These
Yeah.
lottery
but
mystery
but
bags.
for New Year's they're really big.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and they've already announced that some of the stuff in there will be exclusive items. And also with the pop-up stuff, the Miku stores are closed, but they've started selling the items online, but really limited time period.
Just want that fucking Nendoroid.
You would think like the formal showing off of that would be now as they're finishing up the store stuff.
Yeah, I know. I want it.
But
It's so cute.
But we know there is a part 2 to the collaboration coming with the, remix stuff, so maybe they're waiting for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of annoyed that those the Pikachu wearing the Agumon one wasn't official, even though it was like
No,
the person posted it labeled as official. And
that didn't even look
you.
official.
I know, but even if it was just bad official, it was pretty cool. But no, it's not official, and I cried a little bit.
I think I the one who told you they weren't official?
No, I
okay.
I was reading the comments.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, this is not. I saw it and I
That's
was like,
a
this isn't official.
long-standing childhood dream of having some sort of official crossover.
Yeah, because I like them both, and like I don't want it to be in Smash because people are acting like children about Pokemon being in Smash.
That's
just dumb.
Yeah, that's the funny part. I feel like at this point, most of us don't want it to be in Smash purely to upset those people.
Yeah, it's okay to want something in Smash, but I'm not talking about people just like, oh, I would like to be in Smash. Like,
no, like the
quietly.
people.
Well, it's such a disingenuous thing because people want Agumon in Smash because they want Agumon interacting with Pokemon characters, when really Agumon just kind of isn't a good fit for Smash.
The oddest part of that to me is how many of those people are very hardcore about how hardcore Digimon fans and how they know everything, but they don't even know that HABU isn't a director. Like, they will use quotes from him where it's clear they aren't even watching the video they've taken the quote from, because he identifies himself as a producer in the damn video.
Yeah, but people are selective with what they read and what they see.
Yeah. And now we get to move on to the really exciting merchandise. So first up, they showed a prototype for Gem Metal Greymon. And this is basically the last Adventure Agumon one properly that's needed out of ones that, really showed up in the anime quite a bit. I like the pose, I have to say. It works really well.
So nice. I like that it's not just like a Digimon standing there just being in existence. Like, this is, and for some reason, this just reminds me of Digimon World. Like, I don't think in my brain, it's not Taichi's Metal Greymon. It's the Metal Greymon, the virus Metal Greymon from Digimon World.
Well,
just in that
don't worry. We'll see it painted soon enough, and that will be gone from your mind.
I know, but I'm just, at the moment, I just love it. Even if it's obviously when it's Taichi's Metal Greymon, it'll still be fantastic. But I like this pose. It's not just like, he's not just standing there. He looks like he's in battle.
To be fair, I think that's the pose from the end of his evolution.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
And this is also one where, if they wanted to, they could very easily do a premium Bandai store repaint very easily of this one.
I do it.
Then, and this is the one where Well, first, before we move on from Metal Greymon, it's not a precious gem, so hopefully it will be reasonably cheap. So we'll see. And then the one that everyone's excited about, UL Force Vidramon, precious gem. Painted, this looks fucking amazing, I have to say. Like, everything about this figure I just like. The most hilarious thing to me, though, is that they're tagging it as Savers, and I...
But I don't even remember. Like, I barely remember him
No.
being in Savers.
Yeah, he was in what, one episode?
He realistically, I mean, they're not gonna say the reason why it's tagged as Savers is because then they don't have to bring in Shueisha to help approve stuff.
Yeah.
But like they're even but like there's even the talk at Mega Hobby Expo where they're talking about stuff like the base is 100% from V-Tamer.
I love All Force Vegemon so much, and I'm getting this for myself as a birthday present, even though it will probably be past my birthday when it comes out. I love it so much. I love it so much. It's so big.
I know
I love it.
Yeah, this is one that I feel like a lot of people really, because whether it's tagged Savers or not, everyone kind of knows what it is.
Oh yeah, everybody knows what it is.
I love Savers.
And
I absolutely adore Savers. It's one of my favorite seasons. But who the fuck is buying this for Savers?
Nobody is buying this for
Savers. Saying, oh yeah, my favorite Savers character is All Force Vegemon. He shows up once. I think he's just in the background.
I can see it if you really hate Savers, you could say my favorite character in Savers was All Force Vegemon just because it is sort of an adjacent throwback to V-Tamer, sort of like we were talking before about Arcadimon appearing in Cross Wars.
Yeah. But like, who is getting this?
Nobody.
Like,
no.
Because of just Savers and they don't know anything about V-Tamer.
This is a V-Tamer figure in everything but name only.
Yes.
Or even then, like, he's been in the V-Pets at least. Like, I know him more of being from V-Pets rather than being from Savers. So maybe if someone's a keen V-Pet fan and that's their favorite Digimon on the V-Pet, which he's one of my favorite Digimon on the V-Pet.
I was going to ask how Vidramon was sold on the acrylics, but the Digimon themselves didn't actually have series attached to them.
No, it was just a generic cartoon Vidramon. Yeah. So then V-Jump gave us a few additional details. He'll be out June 2020. He'll be 20,000 yen, which is odd. Everyone that saw that price and oddly was like, okay, I actually expected it to be more. I feel like that's about 10-15% lower than most people were expecting. And it's 1.2 feet tall.
$400 for me.
Import better?
Australian dollars bad?
Oh, I'm not only going to pre-order it from Crunchyroll. Anytime they do a sale, I'm going to email them to price match the sale price, and it'll end up being $170 or $180.
Yeah.
And then they announced one more thing at the Mega Hobby Expo, which was the stuffed collection Wormmon. Which
this is pretty cute.
Yeah, everyone loved this, and not only that, the weird Lion King photo.
Oh yeah.
And the Shikishi.
This is one I can very easily see being very common in vendor halls at cons next year.
Yeah, this one's gonna show up a lot. And
which is good because right now it's basically Agumon, Patamon, Terriermon, sometimes Tailmon, and that's about it.
And the plushies continue with Wave 2 of the small plushies and cushions that they first did earlier this year. So the small plushies, we get Wizardmon, Vmon, Wormmon, Gilmon, Renamon, and Terriermon.
Where the fuck is Hawkmon?
And
then with the cushions, we get a sleeping Tokumon and Lopmon, and it feels like
I was gonna say what about Armadimon, but he's not really squeezable.
Now
I don't know if I want to plush on that one.
Out of all these,
out
of all these, the ones that it feels like everyone's talking about the most is the Lopmon.
I've seen a lot of people talking about the Tokumon.
Tokumon's the one that really catches your eye.
No, it is, but a lot of people seem really excited about the Lopmon, like a lot.
People like Lopmon.
I mean, no, people like Lopmon. Just it's not that.
Also, is it Terriermon? Is it Tamer's Lopmon or is it Adventure Lopmon?
It's
That's
Tamer's Lopmon, apparently.
Oh yeah, it literally has the Tamer's logo there. Fucking doy.
To be fair, there's been times when there's been Adventure, Terriermon, and Lopmon, and the product has more or less been a Tamer's product, and it's just been the label.
Yeah, with Terriermon, I think there's more flexibility.
Yeah.
Lotmon in Adventure
Doesn't
it's
really
hard to
exist.
justify a Lotmon in Adventure.
Yeah. But
I mean, wasn't the Digicol, that was...
I think that was
Lotmon and
Adventure.
Terriermon- Yeah, they were Adventure ones, so it's not strange for Lotmon to be labeled as Adventure.
No, it's not. But anytime they do that, it feels like it's Adventure, wink, wink. But really, it's Tamer's, and bless you again.
Yeah. But here they're obviously doing specifically Tamer's products, so you can easily throw that in there.
And then the Digimon thing at Jump Festa was much bigger this year than we expected. Like, that was a relatively big... They had the plush, they had the mascots coming out to take photos, they had the Koromon with the goggles. They had a bunch of stuff. They were giving away the Christmas postcards. They had the trailer running and the big wall with the plot synopsis. And on the other wall, just a bunch of artwork, including some stuff we haven't... Most of this we've seen. A lot of the face close-ups and alternate Digimon shots we haven't, though, I think. There's just a lot of nice art. I like seeing it.
Yeah.
I think we're all just looking at the art now.
Yeah, basically.
It's art. I have nothing to say.
I don't know. I like some of the closer up shots we get of some stuff. And ironically, when I first saw this, combined with a comment that we all know we actually got on the podcast, I was going to throw in a topic until I realized it wouldn't work. That was the comment where for some reason, we got an email calling us prudes, which is just the most hilarious fucking thing ever.
I'm still convinced it's a fucking troll.
Oh no, the best part was, and I didn't even think about it until AR said it was, they're calling us prudes in the episode after we talked about breasts.
Yeah, that's too.
Obviously we didn't go in more into depth on that.
But the funny part...
Visual references.
But the funny part was, I was putting up the images and I'm like, haha, this time we'll talk about asses. And then I realized, oh, we don't see everyone's ass. That doesn't work. I don't know. I like getting the nice art displays because it's... I don't know. I want high resolution scans of all this shit, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We won't, but I would want it.
They're good to have as reference.
Yeah. And then, hey, new Battle Spirit set, and I feel like some people were kind of shocked it wasn't Frontier, but this was kind of like the obvious one that it was going to be, which is...
Oh, yeah, totally.
Which was going to be for Last Evolution. It will be out February 29th. We have the card numbers aren't really that different from what we've seen before, except they've explicitly said some of them will be from the old sets. I think with new art, but I'm not sure, but we'll see. Because we have to start getting news about this soon because it's scheduled for 2 months away. So, although in the past we've always gotten like really good art of everything. So I'm looking forward to that. Because the art team for these has done really well.
Yeah, those have always been solid.
I do like the Battle Spirits art. I did buy a couple boxes when they came out a couple of years ago.
Well, we've gotten really good. We've gotten really good dynamic art from those, and it's nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a few smaller Kizuna updates. Ticket sales have begun with, vouchers and tickets at this point. We have a theater list, which is actually kind of wide for this type of film. I mean, it's certain. The most we had for Try was what, 13, 17, somewhere around there.
What's the number for this one?
47.
Oh, that seems reasonable.
Yeah.
I expect this to be a bigger distribution.
Yeah.
Like this feels like a more.
This is an actual movie.
This is an actual. Yeah, this is an actual movie.
It's a
like 47 actually kind of sounds small to me.
Well, it's 47 announced from moment one. There could always end up being more.
Yeah.
But and I think the one thing that was hard to clarify for people with Try was that you didn't have to go to the theater to see it in Japan.
Right.
you could just rent it for a few dollars at home, and that was it. On top of that, we got some mini products, sort of. The it's weird because they kind of have associated with the movie, but the designs are clearly adventure for the speaker. And the 20th anniversary bag thing, I don't know. May, did you and me talk about this bag? I feel like we did.
I think I might have mentioned that I wanted this bag because it's a really nice bag.
Yeah, I think, yeah. And then the big one was more details for the Anion Station Cafe for Kizuna, which is, they're only announcing 2 locations for now. Haven't really, Meeting Cafe doesn't really feel like a theme because that's what they all kind of were.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll be announcing and showing off art for that in January.
Are these new cafes going to be screening the additional extra movies?
They aren't saying. What they've basically said for the shorts is they are location specific, whatever. And we know the first one was at the pop-up shop.
Yeah.
We don't know about the other ones. They've told us nothing.
Yeah, it's just the timing seems weird.
Yeah.
How the first one was hyped for so long, and now we're at the end of December already. There's only a month and a half out, and there's still 4 more shorts to go.
See, I would have guessed that one of them would have been at Jump Festa, to be honest.
Yeah, that would have been a spot.
But we'll see. And what's interesting is the pop-up shop's the pop-up theater's next thing ends right before Kizuna comes out. So they could almost pull a fast one on us and throw stuff back in if they were going to. I don't expect them to do that, but it feels like something Bandai and Toei would do. And then we have the big Kizuna news, which is we got the new poster, which for some reason people seem to be complaining about Agumon's design a lot, and I don't know why.
Really? Because...
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say...
They always do that. That's not a new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people are maybe realizing that once you get a little more depth into it beyond adventure, Agumon just has a really weird design when looked at other angles.
Yeah. And then we have the new trailer, which, man, that trailer worked. That trailer was like...
No,
that trailer was trending on Twitter with 2 or 3 different hashtags when it came out. Why is everyone so surprised that we'd see a villain? That's the one that I don't get.
Which was it?
People seem really shocked that they showed a villain in the trailer, and I don't know why.
That is confusing.
Why?
Okay.
That's expected at that point. Or do you mean it's confusing that people are confused by it?
No, I mean it's confusing that people are confused, surprised by it. It's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we get to see it?
Right?
It's the bad guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a bad guy, maybe.
Yeah, a bad guy.
And then we get
the plot.
Even in the first
the plot.
Yeah, I mean, even in the first Try movie trailer, we saw Alphamon all over the place, and he was sort of the bad guy for the first movie.
Yeah.
That's just...
Motherfucker was on the...
Right.
Yeah. And then we got to see at the end for lack of a better term, new evolutions, and we'll see what those end up being.
Yeah, sort of. I was sort of
really
annoyed that people were trying to dissect the... no, can we talk about the actual content of the trailer before we try to figure out what the new evolutions are? Because I don't care about the new evolutions.
I want these so badly to be not new evolutions, but just completely different Digimon that are just maybe they're good guys, maybe they're bad guys, maybe they're just guys.
You know what my first thought was when I saw these, to be honest? Yeah. And now we know why Kakudo's upset, because they look kind of like aliens.
Yep.
Jeez.
Maybe they're Atmon.
No. But yeah, it's a really well done, in theory, a trailer's job is to hype you up for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
This trailer does that really well.
Yeah.
I just really like seeing Hawkmon.
This is the first trailer where you actually see it and actually you kind of get a feel for what sort of ideas they're going to present, and they're kind of putting out a big one, that this idea of once you become an adult, settle on a fate, then your bond sort of disappears with your Digimon. Like, that's a good direction to go now post try.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's not weird to me. Like, I get it, but also, like, the people who are just upset about because we already know what happens, and that's not the point.
Well, so this is actually interesting because I've talked about this on Twitter before, is in a way that the epilogue was sort of helpful for Try, in sort of knowing this is a smaller in between incident, that you kind of know that knowing everything's going to be okay in the end with makes sort of Try sort of go, okay, how are they going to get to this point? How is everything going to turn out okay? With this one sort of bringing up that uncertainty and the idea of straight up losing that bond, it's sort of, I don't want to say it undermines the epilogue, but they're sort of in opposition to each other.
You're basically correct, but it's still weird because so often in media you do get intercals, or there were epilogues in things, and it's sort of more just going with it.
Yeah, like this one, I don't want to say this isn't going to go with it, because I'm sure in the end it almost certainly will. Like, people who are thinking this is going to, who are like absolutely certain that based on the trailer that this is going to undo the epilogue, that's kind of that's ridiculous.
The funny part is they keep talking about the epilogue in marketing for the movie.
They do, yeah.
And
it's, I guess my point is that the epilogue, this movie would work better if the epilogue didn't exist.
Yeah,
whereas Try, that's not the case.
But functionally, the epilogue is a far off point. It matters for this, but it doesn't functionally matter as a part of the story, minus that it's showing some sort of roadblock to getting to that future.
I guess it limits the amount of different endings that they can possibly use.
It does, but the thing is, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I would say if the epilogue didn't exist, it would be absolutely possible, absolutely reasonable, and actually kind of cool to see them do it, to just end the bond, to just here's
the thing.
Adults now, this bond is over, and you have to go away. This is really happening now. It's done. That would be really cool to see this movie end that way.
I disagree, because they weren't going to do that, because for one, they've done it before. That's how Adventure ends.
That's how Adventure ends. But
yes,
even with Adventure, well, actually, that's a good point, because Adventure ends knowing happened, so that even undermines Adventure's ending.
But here's the thing: it doesn't, because that is still the ending to that anime. You can, but what I'm saying is you can still functionally look at that thing and say, even knowing what happens next, that does not change the function of the ending when you're watching it.
Well,
because if it did, people wouldn't give a shit, and everyone does still care about that ending very deeply, even though realistically that ending does not functionally do anything, because a week later they're back together.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean, though?
I get what you mean, but not knowing that there's any adventure with the understanding, in quotation marks, that there's not going to be any more adventure after that. If Kizuna ended with Taichi and Agumon being split apart, like, bond is over, you're an adult now, it's done, Agumon goes away, presumably forever, knowing that the epilogue exists, and with the idea, and assuming that the creators of Kizuna respect the epilogue and say that that's still canon,
and of course it is worth saying that even with them talking about it, maybe it doesn't end up being, or maybe they tweak stuff. I would not be shocked if they jump to the future and Tai Chi still has spiky hair.
Yeah, that's
like
superficial stuff.
But that's what I mean. They could tweak little things and no one would be shocked. And we don't know what little things may even mean in even saying that. You could have one Digimon missing in the future.
It's just if they try to make this separation permanent as an ending, and
I don't think that functionally works for one standalone movie, though, to be honest.
I think it doesn't work for that movie because of the epilogue. I think you can make that work if the epilogue didn't exist.
See, I don't think you can because the franchise is even if you ignore Adventure, that's what Tamers did. That's sort of what Frontier did. Savers kind of inverted it to you have him gone, but the Digimon are otherwise gone.
Mm-hmm.
The franchise has done it too much for it to really work properly in a one-off anniversary film because it's been done.
And that's fair to say, but I wish they had the option available to them, and I don't feel like they do.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but I don't agree. If that makes sense.
What you're saying is, do I think that's the ideal ending? No, and what you're saying about other series ending that way feeds into that.
Yeah.
But I just think that the epilogue kind of constrains their possibilities a little more than I like.
Fair, yeah, it makes sense. Before we keep arguing about that, the new characters are voiced by Mayu Matsuoka and Daisuke Ono, who both relatively large, especially Ono. Yeah. People flipped out when he was announced.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because his character doesn't seem to have anything.
Yeah. His character is just sidekick character who's standing there.
Yeah, he's the sidekick. Yes. Manoa has a real Toma vibe to it, and I don't know if that's a good thing or
not. She seems to be a really hardcore Digimon fan, just from the various small bits of text we get. If you look at Ono's text, it's very much a congratulatory to the franchise. She's just talking about.
Oh, are we still on the actors? Okay.
Yeah, she's talking about loving Yamato. She wanted to be Sora. She has the whole thing.
Manoa kind of looks like Sora, so.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if that was on purpose. Finding out she liked Sora, and I don't know why. For some reason, it feels so much of a character comment to have her in sneakers.
Yeah. Oh no, that's totally a character thing. I love it. Yeah. It's just a quirk.
No, it is, and it works well because
they sort of did that with Maki, with the way her pose was a little awkward and stilted, and she's I sort of got the impression looking at Maki the first time that she was sort of playing dress up like an adult.
Yeah.
And that proved to be really prescient.
Yeah. But yeah, these worked well. And the last big Kizuna thing, at least here, was we got details about the Digivice. And people who did not see this, the trailer confused the hell out of them because in the trailer it looks like they have the normal Digivices later in the film. Based on where we think scenes from the trailer probably take place. So it's actually been, the smartphone Digivices are new and made by Koshiro and are not upgrades to the old ones. The old ones the kids have just stashed away in drawers, whatever.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't. But it was very interesting to see people who hadn't seen this content see the trailer and become very confused about what was going on.
Well, I don't care about the interests of people who aren't dialed in. Right at this point.
No.
Once the movie comes out, I will.
No. What I mean is I found it interesting to see people trying to figure out how they would have the new ones, and then why they'd go back to the classic ones. Because you even see the classic ones cracking in the scene and everything, and wondering what was going on. So it'd be curious to see what is going on there. And I forgot in the trailer we do end up seeing the VR goggles, which. We had thought they trashed them. I guess they just trashed them for the beginning. But yeah,
maybe introducing another pair of goggles mid.
And then we have one last little bit for Kizuna, which is they announced not one but two different novelizations.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this.
I'm so excited.
Yeah,
please.
so the Mirai version is designed for elementary school and junior high students. Lots of color images and illustrations. The Dash X version is action scenes and emotional scenes, and some scenes that were cut out from the film.
I just hope that Kizuna gives us a rich enough scenario that a novelization like this is actually deserved and wanted.
I am 100% sure that I remember you saying that word for word when we saw this.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's exactly my words, but that's just.
It's close enough.
Because if this is if this is something where Kizuna is kind of, if the movie itself is sort of a self-contained thing, it's like sort of everything sort of works on itself, and even if we have the additional side stories, then a novel just seems dumb.
Yeah,
Like it's
you
just
want
basically rehashing the old material with maybe a couple deleted scenes.
you want the novel to effectively be a richer experience that adds to having seen the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not yet convinced that Kizuna's going to be deep enough for that. Like a Tri novelization would have been fantastic because there's a whole ton of extra stuff going on with Tri
Yeah.
that we kind of needed to hear about.
Yeah.
So a novelization would have been a perfect way to do that.
Yeah. Although in fact,
I'm not sure that needs to exist in Kizuna, and it's not necessarily bad if it doesn't.
In fact, a few people wondered why we get this for Kizuna and didn't for Tri. It's specifically because it is a movie and it's not. Tri's actual format as ongoing OVAs did not really allow them to stop for products like that.
Yeah, that would have needed to come out right at the very end. By that point, it's like you're sort of already moving on to the next thing.
Because once it comes out, it comes out digitally and limited theater run the same day, with limited Blu-ray stock. Then a month and a half later, the Blu-ray's out, and then they're moving on to marketing for the next one. There is no time to allow there to be a book, really.
And even like you look at the adventure now, the Digimon Adventure is not rich enough to support a novel. Like you read Adventure's novel, it's basically only useful as a director's cut.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing in the adventure novel sort of enriches the experience of Digimon Adventure outside of getting some of Kakuto's side cuts.
Yeah. In this case, we get the novel about 2 weeks before the movie's out. The movie will be out, and then it's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6 months before it's on home video, where the novel, for people who can read the novel, it is a relevant thing while they're waiting for home video.
I'm so excited.
I know. May's been very excited. I think, were you planning to get both?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
The Mirai one would be the easiest one for me to read, but
yeah, for sure.
I'm definitely getting both.
I like the idea of lots of color images and illustrations as someone who does not speak enough Japanese.
The other Mirai editions of things have been pretty easy to read, like without like needing any dictionary next to me, but I could probably still even manage the regular version. Like not the regular version, but the non-Mirai one. In general, I'm pretty excited to read.
No, May has been like really fucking excited for this.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to use my Japanese for Digimon and not just like.
Yeah, I mean, no matter how much it's necessary or not, I would still probably buy the Mirai one if the situation presents itself, like it was available at a bookstore or something.
Yeah.
Up over here.
And then,
the books Kinokuniya would have that, and I'm pretty sure that they're in America as like.
They have a vendor booth at Anime Central that I will be scouring.
Yeah.
Live stream! On January 24th, we'll get a news live stream called Digimon News Navigation, which everyone has been missaying Navigator. I think I mistyped it Navigator once while I was typing up the... Because it sounds like it should be Navigator, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I can kind of see the appeal of navigation.
So it'll be January 24th. News will be for Last Evolution Kizuna. There will be some Q&A for the game stuff, which, because I apparently have too much time, I translated what the form was. I don't know why I had the time, which I honestly did not, but I did anyways. interesting thing is, we all kind of hope there'll be like real news, but it kind of never like. This is basically going to be the this is going to be a Tokubon. Just
Pokemon. That's what
yeah.
they were called.
Yeah, except the Tokubon were like 100% about right that like they did not have a game corner.
Oh, did that? I thought they
Sometimes
mentioned them
well,
sometimes.
when they would show the ad, they would talk about a minute, and then they would move on. They did not. It was just the actors. There was no one else.
Yeah.
But we'll see what pops up here. We always get like there is relevant news, but it's nothing as exciting as we generally want it to be.
Yeah, the Tokubons were always
they were promotional,
not that important. You show some stuff, and then it's like just get to the trailer already.
Yeah, and then there was sometimes we'd see products, but generally it was marketing stuff.
Yeah.
In other news, our first show of the year will be January 25th. I guarantee nothing, but it would not shock me if that's when we do it.
I think I'm even free that.
And then
I'm pretty free.
We have 2019 thank you art and message from Bandai. As always, the art I love. The waving Agumon and Jessamon X looking like Jessamon X. I will say, does it kind of bother anyone else that it's X and not GX? Like, shouldn't this be GX?
It would have been an opportunity for it.
They've already forgotten.
Yeah.
They don't pay attention to what's going on within Chronicle land.
The thank you message was nice, but also generic. They pimped the live stream a little bit. And that's it for the news. So we actually have our topic with our very important title card. Which,
oh God, I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, we're waiting for AR to see it. I can hum the Jeopardy theme while we wait.
I still don't know why you asked me to send you that, because that was last year, not this year. Oh, the decade, I guess, in general.
You're the one who suggested it.
Did I? Oh,
yes.
I don't remember suggesting it. I was like,
okay. No, because we were talking about how the topic was going to be based on one of the things you did for your blog, and we were joking about what pictures to put, and you said since it's a look back, you should do the picture of my ass.
Oh, I can't.
Or no, you didn't say ass. You said the one where you fell over.
Oh,
but yeah, that was the joke. Was the topic was looking back.
Ah, I get it.
Yeah, I only started asking for it because I realized I was having issues finding it on your Twitter. Ironically, I did find it a day or two ago.
Yeah.
But yeah,
was that this year?
No, that was 2017, I think. 2018? Yeah. Because we were talking about how it was going to be looking back, and that's how. And May suggested I use it, and
that's our AP picture of the decade, huh?
Yeah. Plus,
that hurt. I fucking broke the collarbone. That
I would like
Let's all laugh at May's injury.
I would like to point out that when I'd already found it and made the card by the time May sent it to me. She also sent me a text from her parents. The text was like, I don't remember what the response was. It was basically, it was like them mocking you for having gotten hurt. But like,
I think the better question is who took this picture and why.
Oh, so it was actually a video, because we were just Brady and I were just skating and taking videos of each other, because I did my first grind.
That's less fun.
Day, and we missed that on video, so we decided just to video record everything, just in case we actually did something cool. And
it wasn't cool, but
I have to explain the reason why I fell. So I am also into speed skating, which you can see the blades that I have on in this picture have very, very, very small wheels. Mm-hmm. That's not the case for speed skating. For speed skating, you have big wheels. So when you are trying to get speed up, you basically turn the wheels on an angle. So you're using as like the sides of the wheels, basically. But because they're big wheels, there's a lot of wheel to use, and you use that to push off for more speed. That makes sense, right?
Yes.
So because I'm more familiar with that form of skating, and that's usually done in a rink with those huge fucking wheels. They're incredibly big. I think they're about 100 millimeters in diameter, maybe 120 millimeters in diameter. So these wheels on the skates I'm wearing in this picture are about half of that. So they're about 50 millimeters or 60 millimeters. So they're a lot smaller. So I was trying to get some speed up going up this to be able to go up this mound that you see here, because not my ass, the mound, but the mound that I'm going up on in the skate park.
It's not gonna matter. We're still gonna laugh at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, because I'm
I totally understand all of this.
Yeah.
It doesn't
But yeah,
matter.
I'm
We're
using a
not
technique
Mark's
to
not
get
gonna
up.
change the photo.
Yeah, oh no, it's never going to change the fact that
To
I hurt
be
myself in a
fair,
dumb way.
the only time I considered changing it was that May was not feeling well and very much might not have been on the show, and I gave serious thought to if I should change it, because it's less funny if the photo goes up and then I have to explain it while also pointing out that May's sick.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, that's fair. May's sick because fell over probably.
Yes.
No. Anyway, but yeah.
Also, I don't post my incriminating photos on on this Twitter.
I posted this because it was fucking funny,
Yeah.
and I didn't even know that I'd broken anything when I posted this. But it was just really funny. The audio was funny because it's just me screaming "fuck" and screaming because, and also the funny thing is I'm touching my head because my head actually you can see this is me hovering at the moment, but I'm about like half a second away from smacking my head on the concrete.
Mhm.
I'm wearing a helmet, thankfully, because I'm not a fucking moron.
Yeah.
But it would have been so much fucking worse if I wasn't wearing. You can see I'm
surprised
actually.
They wouldn't make that mandatory.
No, they don't.
Wow.
Fucking skaters are fucking morons who don't wear
I know
any
that.
padding
That's
'cause they
why I
it's
would
not
think
cool.
they would require helmets.
Nope.
Because skaters are fucking morons.
It's law
So-
to ride a bike with a helmet.
Huh.
But the police will only stop you if you're a kid, because if you're an adult, like you know what's coming anyway. But anyway, yeah. Long story short, I tried to do a speed skating technique where I was pushing on the side of the wheel.
Mhm.
Small wheels. There's no side of the fucking wheel with small wheels. It was the boot, because the boot is a lot bigger than speed skating. Speed skating boots are basically like lower than your ankle. That's also how I sprained my ankle, because there's no ankle support. So if you fall over and your ankle snaps, it snaps. These ones complete opposite. Huge boot, wider than the fucking foot, and you can see how wide it is, but also you can see that it goes past my ankle because you need ankle support, because you don't really need to make quick movements when you're doing aggressive skating. You need to be like a solid thing.
May,
But
May, wrap it. May, I hate to say it, but wrap it up.
That was me wrapping it up.
Okay, we are going to move on from May fall down, go boom.
It hurt a lot.
Let me know when you're doing a podcast with Tony Hawk.
To the actual topic, let's start with what were our favorite Digimon things from 2009. In theory,
2009.
2019. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I feel like the top thing was Atmon actually showing up. Surprisingly.
Really was.
I don't know. I like the fact that we got a Digimon virtual pet release in English. Like it came out, and it was in Australia too.
Considering that the only thing that I actually dealt with was Rear Eyes and Atmon coming over. It was just really hard to come up with a top 5.
They're
like Cyber Sleuth, like the Cyber Sleuth port was good, and the virtual pet was kind of cool. This was kind of a slow year, to be honest.
Yeah, 2019 was a slow year. I think it's the calm before the storm.
Yeah, 2019 is the year where it feels like a lot of things are being held back for the tornado of the movie and probably an announcement of what comes next.
Well, 2019 had at least something for every type of fan. It had video games, it had mobile games, it had Atmon coming out in English.
I suppose Atmon coming over counts, but as far as Japan goes, there was no new anime this year.
No, they got to go see the shorts, or at least the first short.
Oh, okay, they got a 5-minute short.
But
That's the only
but-
anime.
But that's
content
but
we got
that's
this year.
still interesting. That is 5 minutes of the movie that's not going to be in the movie.
Mm.
That is in
It's a DVD extra.
but that's still interesting, especially since they very easily could have just not done it.
Yeah, I suppose, but
It-
I'm saying
it-
that's a lot less than
It's
we've had
it's
in the
hard.
last few years.
Yes, it is harder for us to qualify the shorts because we have, like, if it shows up tomorrow and we can see it, there's a lot more to talk about for it.
I read a synopsis of it and it sounded pretty cool for 5 minutes.
Yeah, so we'll see. Like, it feels like that's something we'll get.
Like I said, I think, like I've been saying, a DVD extra of those shorts would be wonderful.
We'll see. But yeah, there was a lot of little interesting stuff. Like it's not out this year, but come on, we are getting a V-Tamer figure. That's psychotic and amazing.
But that's what I mean by 2019. We haven't got
We haven't gotten it, but we know it's coming, and we've seen it, and it exists.
I don't count stuff that we're getting next year as stuff.
No, I know,
as our favorite thing of the year.
but like giant Omegamon
like
figure.
everything's looking great for 2020. 2019 itself, pretty slow.
It depends what you're looking at, though. Like, giant Omegamon figure's great. We got an Andromon figure that's not falling apart and doesn't kind of look cheap like the Digivolving Spirits one did. Andromon's had a few rough years with figures, and the one this year is actually nice.
Wings are hard.
I still think the funniest part is you look at how little plastic wrap there is on Omegamon because it's solid pieces, and then the Andromon one is just like reams of the stuff. I do agree with May that the V-Pets are exciting. It feels less so just because they're ones we already had. They're just slightly easier to deal with, which is neat.
I guess 2019 could be summarized by us actually getting stuff in the West.
Yeah.
Like the V-Pets and Atmon and Rear Eyes and, if you will, even Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory on a new formats.
Yeah. And the Switch is probably the more important one. The PC one overall, I rank higher just because it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's got great reviews on Steam too. I was surprised how good the reviews are on Steam. Like, it's very positive.
Well, because minus a handful of things, it's a much more solid PC port of that type of JRPG console game than you normally get. Like, the weakest part of it as a port is probably the controller stuff, but that's also not a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the big one is what we think were the biggest things in the decade for Digimon. Before we do this, just to point out January 1st, 2010. I just looked up a few things, not just Digimon related, but overall, just to point out, 2010 is when Mario Galaxy 2 came out. It was still the Wii. Skyward Sword wasn't for another year. The Marvel films were just Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk at that point. Iron Man 2 was coming out later that year. When the clock rolled over, David Tennant was still the Doctor.
Which was great because they did a nice beginning of decade, end of decade picture of David Tennant and Jodie Whittaker just sitting next to each other.
But like, that's how long ago that was, like, functionally just 10 years. He was still the Doctor when the calendar rolled over. I mean, that
Crosswars, I don't think Crosswars even exist.
No, we did not. No, Crosswars had not even been announced by January 1st. We did not know it existed. The last,
it's like, should I?
The last proper Digimon thing we had, like, overall big thing, was Savers at that point. Like,
let's do our list.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't make a formal list because there was just too much. It was more just what to discuss.
I made a top 5. May I stole it from May. May made a top 5.
See, I was an influencer. I couldn't make a top 5 because it was just, I could have done it. You could do a top 5 just.
Okay, May and I will give our top 5.
You could just go. You could just go Cross Wars, Appmon, try. We started to get more Digimon stuff in the U.S. and then we got try the first fucking day. That could be a top 5 list.
Yeah.
May, what's your list?
I'm just gonna get it up just so I get in the right order. I can't even find it because apparently I post too much nowadays.
Yeah, I had to dig for mine too, actually.
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
See, you to go first because this was your thing.
Yeah, I didn't make a proper list because there was just too much. Like you could make.
But it's more fun to make a list when there's too much than when there's too little. That's why I didn't make a list. Of
no, I completely agree with you. The problem is when there's so much, it becomes almost a more genericized list. Like instead of saying, you could just say the games, like.
That's one of mine.
But
I just got my list up, and that's more or less one of my. I mean, my specific one was the release of Digimon games outside of Japan.
Yep, same.
And I mentioned All-Star Rumble as the game that everybody fucking bought, but nobody fucking played.
Well, that's the funny thing is because everyone wants it to be the petition. It really was All-Star Rumble.
What? Yeah, it was all. Oh, you mean for getting games in the West?
Yeah,
yes. It was all.
Because the thing is you have the producers saying, "Oh, we all saw the petition." It's not.
It's more romantic that way, but
no.
they needed a proof.
It's that a game.
Rumble was proof that it could work.
It's that a game came out that sold.
Yeah, and it was, and I'm sure nobody really played it. I played it like for about an hour. It was fine. It felt very, very old. Despite it being a new game at the time.
It's one that you can play for a little bit. Like it's great if your friend owns it. Like that's what I did. Like I played All-Star Rumble for like 15 minutes.
Well, here's the thing.
Why did it come out on Xbox 360 when Xbox One and PS4 came out a year prior?
No, because they were kids games. It was the older brother, older sister got the new console, gave their old consoles to the little siblings who were watching Digimon, and a $40 game is what they could get. Well, I mean theoretically. I'm not talking
it was full priced here.
See, I think it was 40 here.
Oh, it was like 80 here.
So okay, well, whatever. But it was a kids party fighter. It is effective.
I suppose you're not wrong in that it did have prominent use of the fusion characters.
Yeah, like it.
People bought it, which is great.
Yeah, people.
But it came out like a couple of years after Fusion.
I want to say it was like 2013. That 2013. It was around when Fusion was like around the end. I want to say. Here, I'm pulling it up because why not?
Yeah.
Okay, All-Star Rumble came out in 2014. So if we pull up Fusion in the US was it. Wow, really?
Yeah, I thought it was like 2012, 2013.
No. It started fall 2013. So it lined up, and season 1 ended partway through 2014, and then season 2 didn't start until early 2015. So that was actually like right smack in the middle of season 1 and 2.
See, we didn't get season 2 in Australia, so we only got season 1 in 2013.
When All-Star Rumble, May had said All-Star Rumble came out after Fusion, so I was checking the dates.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
That's right.
Yeah, because I forgot.
Well, no, we know it came out later because it had the voice actors.
Yeah. I just didn't thought of it as
them.
Yeah.
I never thought of it as like something that people would get because of Fusion, because
I
don't think it was necessary. I think it was
it was the game that came out when Fusion was out. It was not specifically a Fusion. It was a franchise game.
It wasn't specifically a Fusion game, but if you're not, it kind of captures both, older fans who want to see Adventure Kids and theoretically younger fans who are into Fusion.
Yeah. I mean it worked better like as an actual franchise thing than Rumble Arena 2, which just sort of came out.
Yeah.
Also, does anyone ever think it's weird that we got Pyomon's Ultimate, but like nobody else's except for Omegamon, Shoutmon, and Gabumon? Like that's a weird like other Ultimate to see.
Yeah, that's is that the first
And
time
also,
we've seen
why no
Piyomons?
Palmon? Why no Palmon?
Oh, Piyomon's more of a, considered more iconic
Be,
than
be,
Palmon. I guess, like, if you have to take a best of, like, if it's it's an all-star cast,
And
Piyomon
I
kind of makes the list, but
why
Palmon
is
rarely
Tailmon
does.
front and center?
Tailmon's way more of an all-star
oh
than
no, I think
Why front and center?
I think people like Gatomon. Like
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I do like that.
her being front and center makes sense to me, to be honest.
Mm.
But also part of it being a wider selection of Digimon was probably because it was a reasonably low budget game. They could not do what they did with Rumble Arena 2, which was just
Oh, what? It was low budget? No way.
where it was
I
just
can't believe we spent the last 10 minutes talking about All-Star Rumble.
Because no one's ever spoken about it, but it deserves to be spoken about because like Try, it was like something that started something. Like
yes.
Try started
Mhm.
Digimon being more or less reborn in
Yeah.
terms of the fandom coming back to life. And then All-Star Rumble, I do really attribute to why we got
Oh no,
Cyber Sleuth.
it's
I do
100%.
too, but it's
If All-Star
sort
Rumble
of in the sense that it's weird that people bought All-Star Rumble. I don't really hear a lot of people talking
No,
about
that's
All-Star
because,
Rumble.
as I
Like,
said,
it didn't
it's
really
for
generate a
Well,
big buzz.
because
here's
everybody
the
bought it, but nobody
just-
played it because they wanted to buy it because one, it was a Digimon thing, and two, for the hope that it's voting with your wallet. It's saying,
Yeah.
oh, if I buy this,
But that's
maybe
why,
we'll get other games.
as far as biggest things of the past decade, I think All-Star Rumble was important in the way it started something. I didn't have the biggest things unless you include it among
I think that
my general game.
I think there
But
is,
go on with your top 5.
I think there is a huge asterisk though to point out when you say people didn't talk about All-Star Rumble. People Digimon did not fully move to social media and shit until Try.
Oh, I disagree.
No.
Absolutely disagree.
No. I mean in the sense of where it was everything and anything. Like we didn't even fully have proper accounts for the official stuff until around Try. I'm saying that that's when it sort of changed
That's
to.
not what I'm referring to, though. I'm just talking about general fan discussion.
But I'm saying that when fans can retweet that kind of official stuff, it brings more discussion overall.
Look,
is what
I
I'm
was
saying.
over on
Now I
Tumblr
want
for the start of the
May to
decade.
finish. Now I need
Yeah,
May to finish.
may I finish?
Because I need to go into.
Well, no, just let me say one thing. I was on Tumblr at the start of the decade and the end of last decade, and until Try was released, it was just all fucking porn of Vegemon and
with
fucking Flamedramon with their huge like cocks, and that's all it was.
There's one exception you're missing, and it's on my list. It's specifically on my list, but I need you to. That's why I need you to finish your list.
Okay, you want me to? Okay, I'll finish my list. Number 4 was Atmon in general, just being out and having like new characters and it being something new, and it
just
basically
the fact that they came out with a new series.
Yeah, and it took the ideas of the third part of Cross Wars and made it like it took like the mechanics and made it good. It was just great, and also seeing characters that were well written and relatable. And yes, it's got problems in it because
and also doing it in the middle of Try, and you have that double pronged marketing attack.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised that because the premise did not sound that good to me when I first heard about it.
You're not wrong.
And I was surprised that not only was it good, but I'm pretty sure there's recorded evidence of me saying this, and someone pointed this out to me, that I said when Try was on, because Try had like chapter 3, I think it just came out, and there's recorded evidence of me saying, oh man, I wish Atmon was good, like Try, the best Digimon series, and I'm just like, I'm so mad at myself because Atmon turned out to be really good, and Try turned out, like, in my opinion, turned out to be not so good in terms of my own personal enjoyment for it. However, I'm still very thankful for what Try provided us, and I'm always happy when people say they liked Try because I'm really glad that somebody liked it because I thought it was okay. But Amon's great, and I love it, and I love.
Was that number 4?
Yeah, that's number 4.
Wow.
I don't think that there's any order for this. I just think it was.
Oh, okay.
I think there's like some order, but like it's not really like. But
yeah, I had Atmon higher on my list, but go on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no like real order to it because it's hard to rank these things, but also Atmon Amon being like so aware and fourth wall breaking in such like a cute way of like, you know, calling something out that that the viewer might be thinking, and then just immediately asking it or having a character think it. Like my favorite one is just in the last couple of episodes, Ray saying, "Hey, why are we involving ourselves in like a filler episode when we have a big bad to fight?"
Yeah,
and it's
that
the
was
best
great.
thing.
Ray being allergic to filler episode was one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, it's so
in a
good,
long
and
time.
it's so like it's so right, because why would they do that in the last couple of episodes? Because a lot of Digimon series has randomly placed filler. And
Okay.
I-
What's your number 3?
Yeah, go.
my number 3, and this is like, again, I had to mention Try, and I mentioned it in the intro to this blog post, that I'm really glad that Try happened because it started so much.
You
But
you can't have a best of decade without Try.
yeah, like, I mean, no matter, as I said, even if someone hates Try with a burning fucking passion, I think that they can't just ignore the fact that it started something huge. So my number 3 is seeing the Adventure Kids age, as well as the original Chosen Children sort of had a backstory, and it was seen again. It wasn't just like a throwaway 5 minutes with silhouettes that were just the main characters again.
Number 2.
Number 2, okay. My number 2 is the Digivolving Spirits line, because it's fucking incredible. I just really like this line. I know this is kind of like probably a weird one to have.
No, it
but-
makes sense because that is.
that's fine.
Because here's the thing, that is something it is a specific Digimon type figure thing, which to have the transforming figures.
Yeah. Also, they're so affordable and they're pretty high quality. Also, I guess the Reboot figures also count as like affordable and nice figures to have. But I just really like seeing the Digivolving Spirits line. It's just really pleasant. I really love them. Most of them are really well done. Atlas Kabutorimon and Diaboromon will continue to always be my favorites. I love them so much. And then number 1, and this is a surprise to absolutely fucking no one. The Digimon virtual pets are actually frequent releases again. We're actually getting them like every couple of months. We're getting a new V pet, and this is pretty great considering it was pretty quiet in terms of V-Pet releases for quite a while there. So probably that one doesn't surprise anyone, because I'm a huge virtual pet fan. It's probably my favorite thing in the Digimon franchise. If I had to only consume one bit of Digimon media, as much as I love Datmon, the virtual pets will always sort of be my favorite thing. Yeah, that's my top 5.
So my number 5 is, I actually included the Adventure PSP game as my number 5.
Fair.
Well,
just because
that was the move. That was the move to more narrative and character based games.
Yeah, it was, and just getting everybody back together and presenting, getting that love for adventure, realizing it was one of the first times you sort of realized that you can kind of get the gang back together and people will respond to that.
Yeah.
My number 4 one, and this is where you're all wrong about not social media not existing before Try, was the Hunters crossover. That blew up social media.
No, it did. But I'm saying my thing was where stuff is just constant and ongoing.
Sure, but it wasn't constant and ongoing. And when the Hunters crossover dropped, that was a moment.
It was, but then that moment. But that moment also didn't last in social media.
No, but it sort of set the tone.
It did.
Okay,
yes.
Like they're sort of realizing that there's still an audience here, that they want to see these characters again.
No, but that also goes to my point about it, though, is it also showed them, oh, if we actually do social media, it blows it up. Is what I meant.
I guess. I'm still not convinced on that. I think social media. I think fans will do social media with her. And I'm glad the official account's in there now, but
you broke talking.
Number 3 is Atmon, for basically all the reasons we talked about. Number 2 is Cyber Sleuth, primarily in the just getting reliable Western releases for platform and mobile games. Like, we've had 3 mobile games come out in this decade.
Yeah,
and
that's also
that's
great.
fantastic.
And 3 proper games.
Yeah. And then number one is try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try, like, I don't have like a proper formatted list, but try is the top thing because that
has to be.
that really did change the game from where we were. Like, you can see Frontier ending, and then Savers and Crosswords follow a specific pattern, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And try just kick the door down on that pattern.
Yeah.
Atmon was big, of course. We discussed the game things. Merchandise overall, I feel, is a big one. Like the
Oh, that's huge. Yeah.
like May specifically point out Digivolving Spirits, but think about like the gems didn't exist 10 years ago.
No. The majority of these things didn't.
No, and that's what I mean. Like all the like a lot of it is chintzy crap, and we all agree on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the fact that they continue to put out the chintzy crap and haven't found a need to stop is an encouraging sign.
But like it was a point where like if a show was on, we might get 2 or 3 plushes. Now we're getting more plushes announced for no real reason. Like for shows
that goes back to the start of the decade. I am amazed fusion stuff I keep seeing.
Yeah. There was just a bunch of, but like we're getting stuff that isn't even associated with stuff that's running. Like a bunch of Tamer stuff was. We had 4 different Tamers plushes announced just last week. Tamers, there is nothing Tamers happening. There probably isn't going to be anything Tamers happening, and we can still get Tamers stuff.
Yeah, one of the things we never mentioned even was the audio drama, was the big box sets and the audio dramas for Frontier and Tamers.
Yeah, because we didn't have any Blu-rays before the decade started.
Yeah.
I mean, we have we have the first 4 anime, we have the movies, we have Try, hopefully more will come, but like it's so fucking weird when you really think about this stuff like really clearly. In the past few weeks we've had 2 Wormmon plushes announced. Like seriously fucking think about that. We have 2 different Wormmon plushes. That is a lot of music, May.
Yeah, sorry, Brady just put music on. As I am.
I think I like that song.
It's our background music now.
Oh no, May's falling into the wind tunnel again.
The wind tunnel?
What?
The episode where we had to mute May because of the wind tunnel?
Oh no, this is just a jam in the background. I don't mind.
Yeah, sorry, I can mute my mic.
But yeah, like the amount of Digimon stuff that even like in the lead up to Try, the amount of stuff we got and that has just continued to go on. We get more stuff on a monthly basis than we were getting for entire years.
Yeah, and it's pretty incredible.
And it's just weird to think about how much that has changed.
Okay.
And then what do we hope to see in 2020 specifically? It's hard to go beyond more stuff because we know.
It's hard to say what we hope for 2020 because we know a lot.
Yeah, we know we're getting a movie. Unless there's an issue, we're getting a game. We're probably getting an announcement of more anime in game if we were to guess.
Would hope so. I would just getting a post Kizuna. I just want to have a clear direction for the creative direction of this franchise.
Yeah,
that's what I want. That's what I hope for 2020.
One thing for 2020, and because this is where around the movie comes out, where it's do or die for if we're getting more Digivolving Spirits. If we weren't,
that was one of my things that I hope to see in terms of.
There's a Digivolving Spirits question, so we can circle back to that.
Yeah, I just really love that. I just really love that series. Oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah. It's hard to talk more about 2020 because we know so much and yet so little. So because
we know what's happening in 2020, but 2021 is so unclear.
I think 2020 is still unclear because a lot of the stuff for 2020, like theoretically, we could have an anime series halfway over by the time 2020 is over at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, it's as far as the games are concerned, it does depend on when 5 comes.
I mean, it's not like we have 2020 vision.
Boo. But yeah, there's a lot for 2020. It's hard to talk about because we know so. I mean, like, theoretically, we know we're getting the movie in English, and we even have an actual like period, but we don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Schrodinger's cat, basically. It's hard to talk about certain things because we just don't know.
Yeah.
And we'll go on and move to questions. While we do some of the ones that were sent ahead of time, you guys can go ahead and send them in the chat, and we'll make sure to get to them. So the first one, this was actually
just a heads up. I'm probably gonna leave.
Okay. If you have to duck out, May, that's why don't you say bye to everyone if you have to duck out?
Okay, I mean, we'll try to get.
I don't think we heard any of that, May.
Pardon?
I don't think we heard any of what you just said.
Oh, I was just saying that I just want to. As long as I get to the one about the Digivolving Spirits, that's fine. That's why I'm staying around for. Just more talk about the Digivolving Spirits.
Okay.
Well, let's answer these first ones quick then.
Yeah. Someone asked, why isn't Vandy ever on the podcast? It's mostly the time zone difference. May's barely on the podcast, as is. Throwing in another wildly different time zone just wouldn't work. And she also doesn't often have the best of health, and it just hasn't worked to ever really have her on.
I was going to say, if you can make California and Australia work, everything in between that's sort of negotiable.
It is.
Other than maybe, I suppose Asia would be rough, but
Asia would probably be easier than a lot of the more western side of Europe.
I was saying for May because for Asia would be the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Because in England England would be 8 p.m.
Yeah. And then someone asked, how was our 2019s outside of Digimon stuff?
Interesting. A lot of like my life like my path has been about the same, but a lot of stuff around me has been having some massive changes. So it's been a really interesting year in that regard.
Yeah, mine was about the same, where generally well, but a lot of weird changes around it.
Yeah, I mean, all of the changes have been good. It's just been weird. It's just been a lot of adjustments to make.
Yeah. And what was your favorite new Digimon item of 2019?
English V-Pets.
Huh? I didn't hear what you said, May.
The English V-Pets, definitely.
Okay. AR, what about you?
Getting to play Rear Eyes.
Wow, that's a sad top item.
I said 2019's been a slow year.
I know, but that's a sad one.
Rear Eyes is pretty good, like, to be fair.
For me, nothing else happened other than Atmon coming over, and that's work for me because I have to review it now.
Yeah. Geez, what was my top? Probably actually getting some of the nice figures, because I believe prior to the Angelomon one, I don't think I have a single gem, period. That was the first one that I got. It was just having the money to actually get some of the nicer stuff that I might have skipped in the past to make sure other stuff was archived. But overall, probably the Omegamon figure. I just really like it. And now May's top question. If Digivolving Spirits isn't over and does pop back up next year, who would you like to see that has not been announced?
I'll force Vegemon.
Starting is what, 0?
Yeah, starting Zero.
See,
I like Zero Maru.
I think you could do
specifically Zero Maru with that face.
I think you could do. Yeah. I think you could do a triple change or even a quad changer really easily for all of Zero Maru's forms, because
you're not wrong. Yeah, but that one actually would have to be branded V-Tamer though. Yeah, you could do a quad of that as long as it has the branding, because the wings pop out, which makes them Aero Veedramon. The wings could be the same wings for UL Force Veedramon, and then you just slightly tweak the armor for future mode. So I was thinking, if I was to pick one that was really out there, I'd really like to see Gaomon to either Mach or Mirage Gaugam. would be a spirit I'd really like to see.
I'm not sure
That'd be
Galmon.
cool.
I'm not sure Galmon's really that out there, to be honest.
I mean, considering that they've been primarily going with adventure and a couple other weird ones, I think we're a ways away from
Oh no.
secondary.
Oh no, it's definitely a ways away if the line keeps going on, but I think any of the main two leads are primary ones that would be chosen.
Yeah.
So while
But it's still, I'm not trying to be unrealistic. I'm just trying to.
Oh, see, I took the question as like who is just your top choice without taking into account this one would actually be made.
Okay, and what's
Okay, I'm gonna disappear now.
Okay.
Bye.
May's
See
vanishing.
you guys. Bye.
But yeah, I was actually taking it to be like just anything, period. It doesn't have to be
Okay.
realistic.
Well, what's your?
Honestly, it probably would be Vidramon because I want Zeromaru. I want the logo on the box. You know what? I would also like to see, all joking aside, I would like to see, they've done ones before, either a Jogris for Paildramon or a Fusion for Omegamon, but do like a really nice one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
another one that would be really nice would be a Gatchmon.
Yeah, Gatchmon you could do.
It wouldn't be. Yeah. It wouldn't be hard.
So who would you have him evolve to for the figure?
I would actually do Globemon because
Gaiamon's
only in like 3 episodes.
Yeah, Gaiamon feels more like the bonus movie evolution type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
Crimson mode or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see what's in the chat before we move on to more prepared ones. Did any of you get the Digimon popcorn? No. I think I can safely say none of us got it.
I haven't gotten regular popcorn since that was announced.
Okay, that was the only one in the chat for now, so back to the ones that were ahead of time.
Oh, step up, guys. Come on.
Yeah. What do we think about stories in general that end without being 100% tied up a la Try? I mean, that's how stories are.
It's like if a story doesn't make you want to know more about the character, the situation, or the world, it didn't do its job.
Yeah.
It's probably crap.
Yeah, it's like, for example, Tamers is not tied up at the end. Tamers is left insanely wide open, and it's why people keep thinking about what could come next.
Yeah,
because
like Tamers has a good ending, but it doesn't wrap everything up.
No. And in fact,
like, nothing should wrap everything up.
But like, if you want stuff to be wrapped up, Tamers is literally the opposite of that. And there's a lot of good stuff that, I mean, this will end up being the third time it's been mentioned in a row. Red Dwarf ended on a cliffhanger until they brought it back 10 years later. It ends on nothing, literally.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you almost run into the opposite effect would be something like Parks and Recreation, where so many of their seasons they didn't know that they were getting renewed or not. Every had to work as a series finale.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, we're not done yet, so let's keep going.
And if
it doesn't really work as effectively.
Yeah, and if a show does, even shows that wrap up pretty solidly tend to leave things open. Like a few times recently, me and May have been talking about Scrubs and Ash. Both of those end really solidly, but not everything's tied up.
Mm-hmm.
And very often, if the
story is entirely self-contained, it's probably crap.
Yeah. Try feels like it got a few people's goat because of what it decided to put on the table as it was waving goodbye. It feels like that. It feels like that.
Yeah.
But of course, that's also what it was meant to do. It was meant to say.
It's like Try had very particular points of emphasis that didn't always jive with what the fandom wanted the points of emphasis to be. Those points of emphasis were really good. Try's
ending to me, more than anything else, basically means, and I don't remember what I heard the phrase in, it was probably Doctor Who, the adventure never ends. If it's a good adventure, the adventure will go forever. Maybe not in stories you see, but the potential needs to be there for more, or else what's the point?
Yeah, like the last Try movie was one of my least favorites because you just had so many issues where it basically is like, so that part where you thought we were cutting corners, yeah, we're definitely cutting corners. At the same time, the ending of Try was fantastic.
Yeah. Let's see. I think we've tied up that one. Let's see what we have questions. Do you see Chronicles going in the future after the Jessamon GX Ogutamon battle? No. I think they could always do a follow-up to it, but I think whatever Chronicle X is ends with that chapter, or maybe the reveal of there being one more chapter. I think that's it. Because that is the story of Chronicle X.
Yeah, I mean, if they could continue the story with another thing. At that point,
Yeah.
you just have to introduce whatever group you want to throw into the next.
Yeah. And someone asked, with the Miku and Cinderella Girls collaborations, are there any Digimon collaborations crossovers you'd like to see? To be honest, I kind of prefer to be surprised on that sort of thing, because like the art for the Miku one, each time they revealed new art, it was a complete surprise at what was being done.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of neater than going, okay, I would have liked it to be a collaboration between Digimon and whatever.
The thing is, whatever you fill the blank with, it's probably something that's done a million collaborations before, and it's not as fun to be that thrown at you.
Yeah, and sometimes the reveal is part of the fun. Like Miku does a lot of collaboration stuff, as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
But that they threw so much art in different styles at us made it fun and special, I think. Like when we saw the Miku as all 8 kids, that batch of art, that wasn't one that I had thought to see after the original promotional poster, so it was a neat surprise to me. I mean, I'm sure if someone pays attention to Miku, that was probably expected, but I had no idea. It was fun to see for me.
Mm-hmm.
Vince asks, do you think we will see the Mysterious Man again?
No. Not in Kizuna, if that's what you're asking.
I agree with you on that. I feel like you almost want the Tri team to come back for a follow-up if you're going to follow up on him.
Yeah.
But I believe the intention of that was to leave it for anyone who might need it in the future, not specifically them. But since they're moving on
I think he's just just an agent of chaos.
Basically.
He's just going to go off and keep being chaotic, whether or not anything we see, whatever.
Yeah, but there's 5 years of potential there. And
Sure.
And even past Kizuna could be when it happens.
Potentially. I would say Kizuna is a definite no. I'm even less certain that, or I'm even less
You're not wrong.
hopeful. I'm even less hopeful of seeing him again than you. And I honestly don't care if I do or not.
I don't really care if we do. I care in the sense of if there's a way to fit him in that works. Absolutely.
Anyone who thinks we need to see Mysterious
Man we do not
get it.
Yeah, we absolutely do not. We don't need to see him. We don't need to see Diablomon. We don't need to see Demon. Those were meant for a very specific thing. That was just saying it wasn't the end. Yeah. That was there as specifically as a wink and a nod. It was not.
It wasn't the end, but we don't need to see the rest.
Exactly. See, I could have brought up Doctor Who again. It's the people who want to know who the
Well, it's funny you mention that because we're going to get to the next question.
Yeah, a lot of Digimon fans take the franchise as having lots of ups and downs. Are there any franchises you like that do that? If they have so many problems, why do you like them? I mean, that's
the closest thing I have in that category is Doctor Who.
See, I'd say most franchises have wild up and downs at times.
I'm not. See, I would almost poke back at that because I think that if any franchise lasts long enough to have
that's what I mean.
Downs and not just it's really good and then it's bad, it's actually kind of lucky. You're actually kind of lucky if you get yourself into a franchise has periods where you go up and down and back up again.
But here's the thing. What is a big franchise that has lasted that does not have downs? I don't think there are any, because if something lasts long enough to actually last, there has to have been things that don't work.
No, I'm not saying that such franchises don't exist. I'm saying that if you're really hardcore into one, you should appreciate that franchise has
Highlander.
stuck around through. Yeah, you talked about this in advance, and you brought up Highlander.
Yeah, Highlander has more downs than ups, and people still love it, myself included. But there's more terrible stuff in Highlander than there is stuff that's watchable. But like I had said in AR, you can point out with Doctor Who, there's stuff in Doctor Who that's not tied up and should never be tied up, like the Curator. I don't ever want to see the Curator again. I don't want to see him mentioned again. It's not necessary. Mm-hmm. The entire point of it was even pointing out that it doesn't matter who he is.
But at the same time, that's also Doctor Who always does that thing where somebody years down the road goes, you know what, I want to play with this character again. And they always have the ability to.
Yes.
And that's kind of what makes Doctor Who cool, is you can kind of go back and say, you know what, I play more with this, and the options are available, but it's always optional.
Yeah. But there are times when there are things that, like, for example, I don't think we ever need to see the Veil Yard again.
Oh, yeah, no.
Like, that's one of those that everything does not need to be tied up with a bow on it for anything. Like, if we never see the Mysterious Man again, I'm fine. Highlander, see, it has so many downs. They always want to reboot it. I think if you reboot Highlander, you're missing the point of that world. Even with all the shit there is. But, like, anything worthwhile has some stuff that's down and you'll still talk about and still deal with.
Yeah, it's just that a lot of franchises, once they hit their first down, they're done.
Yeah.
And then maybe maybe they'll come back as some sort of reboot or not. But you're lucky if they consistently survive their down, if they're persistent through their down period. Like, they have something coming out every year, and even if something doesn't work, they'll come right back with the next thing, and it might work better.
Yeah. I mean,
you're lucky if you have that situation.
Yeah, I mean, like, people may forget because it's been a long time. Transformers was dead for a decade, basically, minus toys and some comics. It was dead and gone and buried.
Absolutely.
Like, even stuff like, it sounds weird to say, Family Guy was gone for years, and it's not showing any sign of slowing down anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
That show was canceled like twice. All this stuff has downs. I'm not really worried about Digimon having downs because it's normal.
Mm-hmm. And there's also a question of whether they mean downs in terms of content not existing or something being canceled, or it's not very good.
I took it as meaning not very good because I mean to be fair, the question did not clarify that, but I took it as being good and bad. It could very well be dead time for all I know, though.
Yeah.
But there's
in that case, I don't know if Digimon really qualify as something where there's been a period of low quality with Digimon, because nobody will ever agree in the fandom on what high quality and what's low quality.
Yeah, I mean,
because we just had a period between Cross Wars and Tribe where there was just nothing. That would be a down period.
Yeah. I mean, does anyone ever really universally agree on if something's good or bad for anything?
Yeah, that's true. Well, apparently, I mean, I'm guessing Highlander fans would.
No,
Highlander fans that hear you say that something is not very good.
And this even came up on Twitter. Neil Kaplan was saying something about Highlander, and I commented, and this is 100% true. I know someone who fucking loves Highlander 2. Highlander 2 is borderline not watchable. Neil Kaplan actually responded, put him in a room with the person so he can show him what for, or some sort of comment like that. Like an actual, I'm going to beat up this person, because like that is how wildly up and down Highlander stuff is. It's not like, oh, most fans agree that this is decent, but it could be better. It's most fans won't watch it because it's so bad. the directors have gone back and re-edited stuff from scratch to try and make it better because of how unwatchable it was. Multiple times. But yeah, I don't think that, I'm just trying to think, is there any franchise where everything is just considered good?
Oh, hell no.
No, but yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, there must be something that just from beginning to, like, even something short like Firefly.
We're talking franchise, which means it's more than one thing, and that's where you get into.
But even one-offs tend to have some sort of expansion. Like Firefly was what, 12 episodes, 11. It had a movie. It's had comics. There's been more to it. It's just anything that lasts has ups and downs, and even the downs at, like, here's the thing. No one is going to be confused and say, I like Digimon Savers. Neither do I believe that Digimon Savers should not exist, or that if someone likes it, they're simply wrong. It's something I don't like. That does not necessarily say anything about the show, minus that whatever it had to offer did not appeal to me.
Yeah.
Unless you like Next Order, in which case you are actually wrong. That is a joke for anyone who...
Well, somebody in the chat brought up Hunters, which is a more appropriate low point, and I know people who really
there
like
are people
Hunters.
who really
there are
fucking
a lot
love
of people who really like Hunters.
No, and that,
I think if we came to a consensus, we would probably the worst of the series. You will have it. There are plenty of defenders for it.
Oh, there is. I won't defend Hunters, but I will defend.
I will. You know, if you wanted me to, I could defend.
Well, here's the thing. I think either of us could defend or attack anything. I think we're both well-rounded enough in how we look at the stuff that we can play devil's advocate. In the case of Hunters, I don't think Hunters is good from beginning to end overall. I do think it did an interesting thing with structure that Digimon had not done to that point, and we can see it being done in Appmon and other stuff after. And we can point to Hunters as what began the attempt to try it.
Sure.
But yeah, exactly.
I don't want to get into a Hunters conversation.
No, exactly. But that's what I mean. And then May's gone for this one. This one was the composite one. We actually got a lot of these for last time, but I moved them here. Basically, favorite things of the year and decade: movies, music, games, anime.
This is so hard.
Yeah, here's the problem.
It's really hard to dwell on the decade. Like, everything it's always going to be weighted to be current, your current favorite thing.
Yeah. But like, for example, for anime, I believe one show I've been waiting for, and I'm going to check to make sure it was actually 2010, not 2009. Waiting for page load. Okay, the anime Sedokai Yakuindomo. I've been waiting for that to be licensed. It finally wasn't released. I'm looking forward to getting it. It's just a stupid comedy, but it's something that anytime I've been able to see any of it, I've really enjoyed it, and I'm happy it's getting a disc release.
Yeah, favorite anime is hard because this is the decade where I haven't been watching as much anime, so I'm probably back to Madoka.
Well, it's also hard for me because most of what I've watched in the decade has been for work.
Yeah.
So even if it's something I really like, it's not like I sat there and, you know what I mean? It's not like it's something I chose to watch and sat there enjoying it. It's work.
Anyway.
But yeah, I think there's too much.
Anyway, I think what we're getting at is that probably not great people to be answering this question, and I cannot believe I asked this.
Yeah.
You care about my tastes outside of Digimon? What's wrong with you?
For games, like I want to say Breath of the Wild, but that feels too recent and not quite right.
Okay.
It's high up on the list, but it's like thinking back to all the Mario games, or even or like even something like Final Fantasy 15, which kind of brought that franchise back from the brink. There's too many games to think about.
Yeah, like it's hard for me because I played I know it's a little older, like it's like 3 years old, but I played Firewatch for the first time last night.
Yeah.
And I'm really messed up by that right now. That's such a fun That's a story for you. And so if you want open-ended, stuff that's not wrapped up nicely, that's a great example of that. But if I was to go favorite game of the decade, I guess Persona 5 probably is where I'm at.
Yeah, I can understand that as a choice. It's just hard to come up with all these just because 10 years is a long fucking
10
time.
years, a long time.
I mean, like
11,
favorite music. I mean, it's like there's been 2 different Daft Punk albums in the last decade.
Yeah,
They're
like that's like it almost like it becomes who is your favorite this decade band right now?
Yeah, it's effectively less what's your favorite and what do you actually remember. Like I remember the Daft Punk stuff because both of their albums for 2010 were really fucking good. And I remember listening to both of those a lot because there's the Tron Legacy soundtrack, which is from 2010, and then Random Access Memories, which was 2014, 2015. And either of those are probably somewhere on that list. But I don't think I could pare it down to an album, a song, or even an artist, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I could flip a coin and say Weird Al, and it probably would be close to true.
For which decade?
But that's the thing.
You could probably say that with a lot of decades.
Yeah.
For me, I listen to more obscure stuff. So there's this really obscure British band called Felix Hagen and the Family that has been persistently on repeat for me for the last like 2 years. Their last album was just blew me away with. It's really like modern glam rock type stuff.
You don't need to lie, AR. We all know your favorite was Mumford and Sons.
No, it is not. I actually don't like them as much as you'd expect me to.
Movies feels really hard to think about because this was the decade of just movie after movie after like I made a list of just movies that I'm sure I saw.
I didn't think about this nearly as long as I probably have. Then I just gave up. You know what? I'm just troll everyone and say Last Jedi for actually doing something interesting in a Star Wars movie.
You're not wrong. Yeah, I mean, it's not the best movie. It's the most interesting.
It's not close to the best movie.
It is the most interesting of the 3 new films.
Yeah. I would say it's the most interesting one since New Hope. I'll say that.
I will go ahead and say the thing that will upset people the most.
Interesting and good, mind you, are very different.
I think the prequels were more interesting than the new movies entirely.
I would disagree with that, but this is not a Star Wars podcast, so I don't want to go there.
But yeah, even going over movies just from 2019, I'm looking not including pre-existing films that I saw in theaters. I saw 19 movies this year in theaters. I don't know where to start picking my favorite when it's that many to say a decade.
See, I have a kid, so I've seen like 2.
Yeah,
and one of them was seeing Last Jedi again because my wife hadn't seen it before.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that was last. Never mind, that was last.
My favorite part about this list of looking at the movies I've seen last year is every movie anyone who knows anything about me could come up with why I saw it, except for the one movie on the list that a friend picked, which stands out like a sore thumb on this list. Which I'll show you that when we're not on the show because I don't think we need to go over that. But best movie of the last decade, I don't fucking know. I mean, I'm trying to think of what would even be the movie I enjoyed the most, and I'm not sure, to be honest. Like Jesus, was Toy Story 3 and 4 both this decade?
I believe they were.
Like I'm checking when Toy Story 3 was 2010, and it's like I remember coming away from that movie just bawling.
Yeah, I haven't seen 4 yet, but 3 hits you hard.
4 hits very hard. Also, not quite as hard as 3, but 4 throws a few good punches, I will say. But Inside Out was a big one in the 2010s.
That was Inside Out's a weird one where that really hits you hard at the moment, but it doesn't linger as long.
Yeah, like there were a lot of films that dealt with emotion well in the 2010s also.
Yeah.
See, I'm trying to think of even like a guess at my favorite film. I don't. Yeah.
If you don't have it now, you're never gonna come.
No. So I'll just upset people and say Knives Out.
Oh, that's a fun choice.
Yeah, that was a good. That was a good one.
A little contemporary, but it's a fun choice.
Yeah, that's too current to really be the choice.
Yeah, you can't like.
No.
You need more reflection.
Yes, that's
really
just
put that on a best of decade list. But
that's just the one that I can think of right now.
Okay.
It's 100% not, like I don't. John Wick, maybe. It's been too much.
Anyway,
let's move on from that. Let's see what showed up in the chat room. Okay, did that
there
one?
was one that. Do you think the Digimon franchise could die again if the next few Digimon projects are poorly received?
I mean, any franchise can die. I think in the case of Digimon, it's in the position of, and this is a key thing that a lot of people have missed, and even when it's explained to them, they don't seem to get it. It doesn't matter if the stuff's poorly received or not. It matters what it sells.
Yeah.
Like,
I think let's reword that to poorly sells.
Yes, if it poorly sells, yes, because it only exists to sell stuff. It is not an art project.
But yeah, absolutely, and it's weird to it's weird to say this given where we're at right now. If they sell poorly, that's probably it for a long time, unless they try to get something more marketable to kids.
I would say
it might be it for us.
I would say at any given time, if it crashes, that's it for probably 3, 4, 5 years. I don't believe it's a case of, let's say, Metabots where it crashed, and even in Japan, it kind of fell into maybe a game or a re-release every few years, but still kind of dead.
Yeah,
I think
I can see it being in a place where it's gone for our current demographic.
Yes, like, and that is a key thing. A lot of the people who were around for Frontier or for Savers, and even maybe for Cross Wars, they did not continue on when Tri came back. When they left, they were not coming back.
Yeah.
Now, Tri pulled back a lot of people, but there are people who were really there were people who, if you were online talking to people about Digimon, no matter where you were, you would see certain people. Many of those people are fucking gone and they're not coming back.
Yeah.
And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with moving on. I mean, I highly doubt. I mean, it's a coin flip if we're going to be doing this in 5 years.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I mean, I don't think I'm going to be doing this in 5 years. I hope I'm not doing this in 5 years.
But that's the thing, is one good show.
Honestly, well, yeah. In 2011, from talking a decade, I started Digimon System Restore in 2011. I had no idea at the time I would still be doing it.
No, but that's what I mean. We can't really guess if we'll be here or not. Because here's the thing. Franchise could crash and burn next year for all we know. Or there could be an ongoing show that changes everything, and 10 years from now, somehow we could still be doing this for all we know. There's no...
Yeah.
Trying to guess that far ahead is just flipping a coin over and over again. We're doing it for now, though, and we'll be doing it next month. I'm reasonably certain about that.
Yep.
You guys get time for one to throw in anything else you have, because I believe that's it, and then we'll call it.
I gotta get going.
Yeah, we'll give them a chance to toss in one or two more, and if they don't really quickly, then we'll call it. But yeah, thanks everyone for showing up. AR, where can they find you?
Find me online at digimon.net, where I'm doing my current Appmon reviews.
I believe your mic cut out right when you gave your address.
Yeah, digimon.firstagent.net is where I'm doing my reviews of Appmon, currently through episode 20. Post those twice weekly. I'm also on Twitter at firstagentarp.
Okay. May can be found at Lost in Translation Mon, and Ancient Irismon. I can be found at With the Will. Sign up for our Patreon, follow me on Twitter, all that stuff. Especially the Patreon, because That's what pays for all the weirder breakdowns and hosting the site and other stuff that's coming up that not many people know
And
about.
while you're at it, buy me a coffee because I like money.
Yeah. Everyone buy AR a coffee because he likes money, and then sign up for the With the Will Patreon. I believe that's about it. Anything else, AR?
Nope.
We'll catch you guys all. I'm gonna go ahead and say probably right after the live stream.
Yeah. I
So,
should be free.
yeah,
that
so
weekend.
we'll
it'd be a good time. We should do one more before Kizuna comes out.
Yeah. So we will catch you guys then. And man, it is weird to think if we did get a quick launch, we could be less than 2 episodes away from watching the movie potentially, but probably not.
I'm not expecting a quick
No,
launch.
neither am I. We'll catch you
A
guys.
quick launch would not be in their best interest.
No, it really would not, unless they're able to do a quick theatrical thing through Fathom.
Yeah,
but we will catch you. Yeah, we will catch you guys next time. Bye.